You know, I could really relate to that that bit. When I was in at National Lampoon, we went down to New Orleans and for the world's largest toga party. And one of the routines we did was 2 live Jews, me and Ratso, and it was a rap like like that, but it was 2 Yiddish guys, Hebrew guys, and we had gone to Borough Park, Brooklyn, to buy fur hats, which cost a fortune, religious fur hats. And this guy got suspect of us, and he's going like, "Why do you want these hats?" And like we're going like, "Dude, we're paying for the hats. What do you care what we want for?" He goes, "I'm not going to sell you the hats unless you tell me about the hats." And so Ratso quickly goes, "We're doing a remake of Fiddler on the Roof at a high school in Manhattan." And he goes, "All right, I'll have to buy that. That'll be $300." So we buy the hats. We go to New Orleans. And we do a similar type thing, but it's 2 live Jews, like 2 live crew, and it's just 2 old Jewish guys rapping back. We had written it out, rehearsed it, and everything else. And when we stopped, we looked out in the audience, and there was just hundreds of people with their jaws hanging open, kind of like Springtime for Hitler in the producers, the Mel Brooks thing, when they panned to the audience after the presentation of the Springtime for Hitler, and the audience is just staring with their mouths open. That's how it looked to us. Now, this event, it wasn't that similar because these people were cheering them on, but still highly unusual. I guess he does that wherever he goes with the American flag guy, who's his partner.
Yes. Now, I mean, wasn't the Beastie Boys essentially based on that too? Mm-hmm. Jewish guys from New York who put on a rap show.
Right. But I mean, we did it with beards, like paste on beards and fur hats. Alex is doing it, I guess about Zelensky and Ukraine. I couldn't really understand the lyrics. Maybe he'll explain it to us. But it was very well received, the entire.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He was followed by, I forgot her first name, but Mrs. Sorbo. I think Kevin Sorbo's wife.
Yeah, who was that? She was talking about her kid in a book.
Right. But would you like to go on after him? And she's like,
well, she wasn't a comic or anything, right?
No. She's just a speaker.
Because I was watching Viva interviewing Chrissy Mayer this morning, mm-hmm. and I guess you've been on before.
Yes,
she talked about touring with Alex Stein in various locales. But the clip that Viva was showing, the thing that's gone viral, is mm-hmm. the clip of her engaging with some people who are upset about her trans jokes about Dylan Mulvaney. And when they get up from the table, I mean, the joke comes later in the episode. He'll probably explain it, Alex, better than me, but there's 4 girls, maybe 5, sitting ringside at this club in Texas, Dallas, from what I understand. And they don't like the fact that she's making jokes about Dylan Mulvaney or whatever. Okay. So they get up to leave, and each one of them weighs like 500 pounds. And they get by the door and they yell out transphobe. And she says, which is a throwaway line, which is not even the funniest line of the night. She says, "I hope they don't get harpooned on the way out." And I just fell off my chair. It was just absolutely funny. Obviously not funny to you, but absolutely hysterically funny that she would throw that line at them. I
was seeing a lot of chatter in the chat.
Focus here, right here.
Well, I care.
Focus on the show. This is the show. We'll do that.
Okay,
later.
Well, no, I care about the audience. So, but I don't see it on StreamYard. Apparently, Ronald Pinta, bought 50 memberships of this show for
Okay.
others in the audience.
Great.
So
That's
that's
great.
that's
Okay.
a pretty huge investment to give out to everybody. So thank you very much.
And now back to the show.
Wait, what? Is there a show?
Hunley, focus right here. Let's do this. You'll worry about this afterwards. Anyway, so I'm curious to see what Alex has to say about this thing with Chrissy Marr that's gone viral. And great interview by Viva a couple of days ago on Sidebar, which I highly recommend. Again, of course, Viva stumbles into his Achilles heel, as I mentioned before the show, of asking people their age. And, you know, she's a woman of a certain age, and she doesn't want to participate in Viva Sherlock Holmes's nonstop grilling of every person he meets, from a bus driver to a salami sandwich maker, as to how old they are. I don't know. It's kind of like his way of saying hello, I guess. But
he is kind of focused on that.
Am I crazy, or is he focused on this?
I didn't really pay attention to it, but
right. He was grilling me on my dude. You would have thought that I had stolen something from the Polish secret police the way he was grilling me. And then he did the same thing to her in the interview, and she didn't want to get involved. So he starts looking at her Wikipedia page, and she's getting more uncomfortable. And he's going, well, you went to college in 19... And she's like, yeah, I really wouldn't want to get involved. And he goes, and then you got this. And he goes, I think I know how old you are. I really do. And he doesn't say it, but he seems satisfied that he's able to figure out some rando comic female's age. I just wanted to get
it's a thing with him that he does like to know.
Let me tell you something. I was up at the Greek last night to see Dwight Yoakam and Emmylou Harris. And it's a weird crowd because it's LA and there's a lot of country fans, a lot of Dwight fans in California. But the Emmylou Harris fans are more of a soft country rock, older crowd, because she's like 76 years old. She gave a fantastic show. Anyway, I'm sitting next to a woman, a Canadian woman, who is very, very sweet, very Canadian, very nice. She's sitting there for like an hour with me. And all of a sudden, two elderly, I don't even know how to describe this, two elderly women show up with N95 masks on outside for this show, carrying pillows and blankets in bags. And it must have been a mother-daughter team. I'm not really sure. But a huge fight breaks out as to who is sitting in whose seats. And they're right next to my seats. And I'm just going, and everybody's just going, all right, get the usher. You know, you could settle this. But they're all autistic. Everyone involved in this thing. The M95 ladies can't talk through the M95 mask. They've got pillows. They can't understand the seat numbers. It was just a cluster F of autistic trouble last night at the Greek Theater. Soon, and I was rooting for the Canadian, of course, and they might have sold the tickets twice. I don't really know what happened, but it turns out that they come back, they get the seats, and the first thing they do, of course, when they get the seats, as you're well aware, is they take off their masks, because now they've got the seats, they're outdoors, they wore the masks all the way into the controversy, into the getting the usher, into whatever happened. Now that they've sat down, they take off the masks. Believe me, you did not want those masks to come off. The bad breath coming out of these two women, which must have been suppressed
from recirculating.
Yes, went 3.5 feet to everyone surrounding their circle. So people were leaning the other way. They brought pillows and blankets in a bag that they never took out. They never sat on them. They never removed them. I just wanted to get that out off my chest. But the reality of it is, unbelievable show by Dwight Yoakam. And I was glad I saw the show. Not so great about Emmylou Harris, went on too long. But Dwight's got a guitar player named Eugene Edwards that I reckon, he's been with him about 10 years. So anyone who hasn't seen Dwight in less than 10 years, I would recommend seeing him just for Eugene Edwards, the guitar player in that group. And I mean, he just rips through his entire catalog. I mean, it's a fantastic show. But anyway, I just wanted to say I'm a little bespruckled today because we were up at the Greek till pretty late. We went pretty early and there was a lot of acts. And for me, I just walk up the hill because I live really close to the Greek. But for others, it becomes a M95 mask night out. and,
By the way, on
and
those masks, the dentists have released information that the hygiene problems and the cavity problems because of the mask and recirculating bacterial air is
mhm.
has driven up dental problems like by huge margins
I
over the
just want to
past
say
years.
this. Her daughter looked exactly like Zippy the Pinhead. And for those who followed Lampoon and that comic strip, just imagine what I'm saying. The daughter looked like Zippy the Pinhead. Okay, go on, Eric.
That's fine. Dentists, bad infections, nasty, bad times.
Oh, okay. Well, somebody bought memberships, and we're gonna
Oh well,
have
yeah.
our.
It's $5 a membership. 50 memberships is a pretty sizable investment. So thank you very much. It was like $250.
Okay, so we're gonna have.
And Mark is very pleased for the audience
I
that we
can't.
have
I'm
all
so
these members.
excited. I just can't get over it. I still don't know how locals works, but we went to the local studio in Miami, right? That was the local studio.
Yes.
Okay, well, that was nice. That whole operation with Viva down there was well played.
Yeah, it was a very cool place. We can't really say where it is, but it is a nice studio inside of another building, and
I just want to tell you
great
something.
setup.
I just want to share something about my travel. I got to get this off my chest. I showed up at the West Palm Beach airport to come home the other night, and showed up like 3 hours early. Why? Because we had been in the museum, and we had checked out of our place at 11, and we were driving around, whatever. So there's nobody in the airport. It's a tiny airport, and really Art Deco-ish, beautiful airport, small. Nobody's in there. Walk up to the American Airlines counter, and I present the ID and the tickets and everything. And he says, sorry, your connecting flight in Dallas is canceled. Can you come back tomorrow? And I said, excuse me? The guy says, the flight to connect to Dallas to LA was canceled. Can you come back tomorrow? I go, I don't think I can come back tomorrow. I don't know if that's a proper answer. So he says, you know what I could do? I go, what are you going to do? I just got here. There's nobody in the airport. He says, I'll put you in a van and send you to Miami. I go, what are you talking about? A van to Miami now? Next thing I know, I'm in a van and with my person there going to Miami. And this takes 2 hours. Now I'm going to Miami again. This is the third time or fourth time I've gone to Miami on this vacation.
Almost daily.
So I'm almost daily. I'm going to Miami. And it's one of the most brutal drives on earth. At one point, okay, I just want to tell you this. There's a flight out of Miami nonstop to LAX. The flight is 9:27. This is now 5:27 in the afternoon. The guy says, you can't make the 7:30. I go, dude, I just showed up. I'm trying to make the flight I just paid for a month ago. What are you telling me I got to get in a van to Miami for? Complete insanity. The guy opens up his heart to me. He's been in the counter business for American Airlines 34 years. He's trying to get out, trying to retire. He says it's a complete shit show. They never replaced the air traffic controllers, are operating at 55% nationwide. Dallas, the hub, has completely descended into madness. All of the problems for American Airlines and other airlines are because of staffing, of firing pilots and other personnel because of COVID, never able to restaff. He says, I got to get out of this. Every person he knows has either retired or gotten out of the business. He's got 34 years in. I think he was waiting for one more year or something. And I felt so sorry for this guy that I didn't mind going to Miami in the van. You know what I mean? Like he broke my heart. And I said, my father was in the airline business. I completely get it. And we just bonded, me and this guy at the West Palm airport. Okay. So we go outside. He says, I give you a voucher and you go in this, you take a cab. I go, all right, whatever. What am I going to do? I got to make the flight. I got to get to LA. So we go outside and the guy takes us out, and the first guy, Haitian guy, says, no, I'm not going to Miami. I can't take it anymore. And the guy says, well, you have to. He goes, no, I don't. Next guy pulls up in a minivan. He goes, I'll take them. Another Haitian guy. He says, I don't mind going to Miami. I guess the American Airlines pays whatever the rate is for them to go. We get in the minivan with the guy, and he says, what time's your flight? I said, it's like 9:30. He says, well, it's like 5:30 now. I go, all right, whatever, take your time. He says, you mind if I go home? I go, what? He says, yeah, I got to pick something up in my house. So I go, no, what do I care? Now we're driving to this guy's house. No, this is so insane, Hunley. We're now in the guy's minivan, driving through the woods. We've left the airport. We're now in the woods, driving to where this Haitian cat lives to pick up a package, which he does, some package he puts in the front. We now start driving again, and we're stuck in traffic. So I'm bribing the guy to pull over to let us go to the bathroom. This is an hour and 15 minutes into this marathon event to get from West Palm to Miami again, right? So we finally, it's 2 hours to get to Miami. It's 50 miles. To get to Miami, it's 2 hours. Now we get, and the tickets, of course, the seats are separated by 9 million rows. We can't sit together by federal law, whatever. And the guy says he does something. And anyway, make a long story short, the woman sitting next to me, I've got a premium seat, and my friend's got an exit row seat. So I say to this woman, would you mind switching? My friend has a fear of flying. I make up an incredible story. So my friend comes up and sits with me. The woman goes back. So in back of us, just so you know, is a couple from Jamaica with a baby that's like 3 months old, all three wearing double masks, including the baby, who they take the mask off and is screaming nonstop for 4 freaking hours. She's now changing the baby in midair with feces. No, shut up. You will shut up and you will learn, Hunley. With feces on the back of the seat while the stewardesses hide in the back and did absolutely nothing on American Airlines, who are going to receive my letter in another day that I wrote to American Airlines. The smell just permeated the entire section while this woman changed her baby in mid-flight on the table where you put your drinks. You know what I mean? Like the back table.
No, that's what I was thinking of too. It's like, great, that's a table that people are served food on. Thank you very much.
Right. She used this and then put the double mask back on her husband, herself, or she never removed them. And they had to remove them from the baby periodically. And I'm thinking to myself, this kid is going to be so deformed growing up from breathing its own carbon dioxide. It's going to be mentally retarded, obviously. It's obviously defecating out of both ends at this point in midair. The pilot decides to fly for 900 miles alongside one of the most insane looking electrical storms I've ever seen in my life. It must have been all of Louisiana, all of Texas, because he's flying 1 inch to the left of it. Instead of just bellying out and going around it, I think he was playing Daredevil up there in the cockpit and we're just going, wow. I mean, the light show would look like something out of Joshua Tree at the Fillmore East, the Joshua Light Show at the Fillmore East, 1969. I mean, it was quite impressive. And I thought, there's no way I'm making it. There's just no way. When they landed, there's nobody at the airport. They're now landing 1 o'clock in the morning at LAX. And he goes, finally comes on there. He goes, this is your pilot, Jeffrey Stern. We're going to be taxiing for about an hour. Please do the best you can. Try to survive. We'll be getting into the terminal. We'll be at Terminal C, Terminal Z, Terminal X. It kept changing, right? There's nobody at the airport anymore. There's nobody there. He can't even dock this plane to get us out of the goddamn plane. People were running off the plane saying, just go F yourself. You know, you say goodbye to the pilot. Hey, thanks. That was a great flight. Thank you. He's been going, F you, and just getting off the plane as quickly as they could. A flight from hell, to quote Richard Lewis. All
right. So when are you next traveling?
I'm not going on a plane for about a year. I'll tell you, anywhere I'm going from now, I'm driving. You know what I realized? I had a perfectly wonderful time for a week in Palm Beach County, right? The second we Americans begin to interface with our failed institutions, and it doesn't matter what the institution is, it begins to collapse like civilization. You could survive on your own in America, anywhere. You can get a rental car. You can kind of have your own car. You can get gas. There's usually some sort of aberration, like I pull up to the gas station and I put gas in the car. And I don't need the guy. I don't see the guy, right? In the thing. Guy comes out and he says, I go, what? And he's yeah. And he's locking the door to the store of the gas station. I guess the owner. And I'm going, I don't know what you're saying, bro. And he's going, you want to go inside? And I go, no. He goes, this is your last chance. I go, I don't want to go inside. I'm just getting gas. And the guy's going, come on, I'm not going to keep holding this door. I go, bro, I don't want to go inside. And then he says, well, don't you need anything? I go, no, I don't need anything. I don't need anything. I'm just going like every single institution in America is broken. It's just broken. And it's the bigger the institution, the bigger brokenness there is. So you get into the airlines level, it's major broken. But even at the smaller level, like this gas station story, every single story is every single institution has a story of brokenness. Now, this was miniature, and it happened to be, again, for the 9 millionth time, cultural language barriers. I mean, I don't speak Ethiopian. I'm sorry. I'm a bad person. I mean, I learned German. I took 4 years of German in school. And my mother said, well, why? And I said 2 words, Fourth Reich, just in case. But the point of the matter is, you can't be a complete polyglot of every language there is. But maybe you know about this AI translation crap. You know, maybe someday, you know, your phone, you just hold it up and the guy speaking Ethiopian says, do you want to come inside? You know, and it's just like really easy to do. But for the most part, you'd have to like record the guy, I think.
I don't know. I think about the Tower of Babel, and eventually everybody will get separated again. So as soon as we get clever on that, then there'll be some sort of intervention, and it'll be a disaster.
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
But on that happy note, so
what?
Alex Stein,
99,
good
was
guy,
fine guy. Viva interviewed him, and we just met him. Right? Was he interviewing him, or what was he doing there?
Well, David is doing a live stream,
right,
and then just came over, and he was part of the live stream when he was doing it. It was cool watching him on the phone. That's one thing. Viva can handle a cell phone like nobody I've ever seen.
He's more than ambidextrous. We went to the Murakami Museum, me and him and his wife and my friend, and there's animals roaming loose there, having nothing to do with the garden. There's a Japanese gardens and landscape thing that they have there in Delray Beach, and he just couldn't believe it. They had carp and fish in the pond that were like 3.5 feet long. And you could see the guy salivating that he just wanted to get his rod and reel. I go, Viva, yeah. These are for show. They're not like catchable. He's going, yeah, that's okay. I'm just going to dip my, yeah. Then he's going, I'm just going to dip it in there. I think I could get, I'll catch and release them. You know what I mean? There's turtles walking by. There were alligators. I mean, we stepped on armadillos. I don't know what the armadillos were doing there. But just a beautiful, beautiful piece of landscaping, a Japanese museum there in the middle of Delray Beach. I don't know why it's there, but highly recommended.
Yeah, well, one thing, he's incredibly talented. And folks, Alex will be on in just a few minutes. He had another interview he was doing, so he's definitely coming on. But David, I sat there watching him. He did the whole live stream, right? Recorded all this stuff, but he wasn't only doing a live stream. He was recording a video. So he walked around different points, recording. You had the vaccine police car, had to get that all completely put in. So we went back to his house, and he literally was grabbing dishes, throwing pans on the stove, and editing a freaking video on his iPhone. Clip, cut. Here's a kid, run, grab the kid, do this, cut. He put together an entire video, ready, released on YouTube and Rumble in like 15 minutes while doing everything else in the world. I cannot imagine having that ability. And I'm a techie person, but I'm just sitting here watching him in awe, going, how in the hell? And he does it all on the phone.
We get to his house. He runs in the house. He picks up that dog Pudge, and which has no legs or whatever. He has no legs that work.
Right.
And he just takes it in his arms, he takes it in his arms, carries it outside, and he squeezes the bladder of the dog to let it urinate in midair. And I just went, I've seen everything in terms of.
Well, he made sure you saw it.
Oh no, twice. I saw it twice.
He's like, hey, Mark, look.
It's some sort of fetish. He's got some sort of fetish going with that dog. The other dog's blind, but I think it's an act, because the dog was like winking at me. He was coming up on he was looking me right in the eyes, the other dog. That thing is bullshit. The one with Winston. The other dog, it's clearly, on his last legs, quote unquote, he's just dragging himself out the door. And even he wants to get rid of himself, that dog Pudge, but Viva is going to keep him alive. And then obviously have him stuffed and put on a mat.
Oh, for God's sake.
I mean, well, what's the other choice? What else?
Pudge is a sweetheart. She is a sweetheart. She's fine.
What's the other thing they do? Besides stuffing the dog, they clone it. He could clone that dog. That's what they do. They clone the dogs now.
But preferably with better legs.
Yeah. Yeah, wouldn't that be a real bitch? You clone the dog, comes back exactly the same. And you go, I think you go to the company, and you go, I think I have a problem here.
Ray's country. Winston is playing victim.
Yeah. Winston is. There's nothing wrong with that dog. I'll tell you right now.
Hey, thank you, Feds, are watching with a super sticker. And like Eddie Murphy said, once you go legless, you'll never go back.
That's funny.
Okay, so are we telling them what the show is on Tuesday?
Tuesday. I haven't even done this show yet, Hunley. What are you talking about Tuesday?
Oh,
Where's Stein? Where's this guy Stein?
I don't know. He's your friend.
It's 6:00. He said he's coming on the show.
Okay. Well,
okay, let's go. Let's bring this guy on. I don't have all day for this guy Stein. We're going to get to the bottom of this thing.
Well, whenever he,
you know what? We'll take a break right now. We'll take a break in the action and realize that America's Untold Stories is brought to you by the Mississippi Sheiks. Shown
Heroes
here,
of the Blues.
Mississippi Sheiks and the Heroes of the Blues. The Mississippi is Pasha. Thank you for stopping by. The Mississippi Sheiks. There were two originally, just to get you into the sponsorship of Heroes of the Blues. The Mississippi Sheiks, singer guitarist Walter Vinson and fiddler Lonnie Chapman worked together for over a decade before recording as the Mississippi Sheiks in 1930, producing the huge hit, which everybody knows, Sitting on Top of the World. Everybody knows that song. Two natives of Bolton, Mississippi, played primarily for white square dances. I don't know if they played for white squares who were dancing or white square dances, often with Lonnie's other brothers, who included Bo Carter, seen on the left. Both read music, and their 78 featured titles offer a unique mixture of blues and pop musical ideas. They disbanded soon after the final session in 1935. It's Mississippi Sheiks. Now, I'll tell you this. I have a friend named Patrick Weathers who we talked about on the show. He told me that down in Mississippi, where he's from, the timber sheiks is a type of white trash that lives on the other side of the tracks with African Americans in Mississippi, and that Elvis was a timber sheik. And in fact, Patrick Weathers may or may not be a timber sheik. But I always remembered that, him telling me about the timber sheiks and Elvis Presley. But this is the Mississippi Sheiks. I don't know if that's relative to timber sheiks or not. I'm going to have to defer to our friends in Mississippi. Laurel, Mississippi, being the home of actress Parker Posey.
There you go.
Whose father, as I recall, I remember driving through Laurel one day, and her father owns a large car dealership there, if my memory serves me well.
Okay, and you may have to text him because he doesn't look like he's seen the DM yet.
Okay. You want me to come back later or just text him right now?
But you text him right now. I mean, folks are waiting. Yeah, whatever.
Look, I don't need this guy to do the show. The point of the matter is
well, if he's going to be again.
If he's not here, he's not here. We're trying to help this guy. But anyway, so that event, that mega, whatever that thing was a lot of fun. That thing at the Trump Doral. I really liked it. There was so many freaks there, Eric. There was so many weird people. And I mean that in a good way, you know.
Yeah, well, I thought it was fun to go around and look for QAnon because, that's what the article was that the new Miami Times was talking about immediately, the anti-Semitic QAnon horrible event that was going on.
They do this all the time. And does anybody take this seriously? I mean, it's so funny, this whole thing that these violent white supremacists are roaming the earth, looking to kidnap black babies or some kind of mishigas. I'm not really sure what the deal is. And I guess people, the brainwashed MK Ultra victims, also known as Biden supporters, seem to believe this. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They seem to, you talk to them, they're like from another planet. And all of us, I mean, you're pretty laid back. Barnes is pretty chill. Viva, I mean, we're not stressed out. I'm not freaking out all day long. These people are literally looking for communists underneath their beds is the closest analogy I could make, right, Eric? It's like the Red Scare. It's the White Scare, if that makes any sense as an analogy towards the 1950s Red Scare, where people were actually running around on the right, completely looking for commies.
Sure.
Right. Okay. Well, this is the flip side of that. And
and they tried it. I mean, this is obviously even more recently. You had the Tea Party. It was the same thing. Everybody was talking about those crazy, unhinged Tea Party activists. And so you always be like, the Tea Party is having an event at the park this week. And so the Tea Party would descend on the park, right? And what would happen is the Tea Party would descend on a park. It could be Chicago, wherever, where there's a ton of litter and everything. So then the Tea Party would be there, and all of a sudden all the litter would disappear. And you would have a bunch of taxpayers who don't like paying too much in taxes, picking up all the litter on the park, cleaning up everything behind them. And it was like, that was a Tea Party. And then remember Breitbart.
What did they do?
Well,
Andrew? Or
Andrew Breitbart, not the news organization. He himself, one of the Congress people, a black congressman, made the claim that they were saying, hey, N-word to him. During the event. And so Breitbart released all 10 hours of video. And it's like, shockingly, they couldn't find a single instance of the word ever being said. Everybody is, of course, extremely polite because it was just like the Darrell. I mean, everybody there was like, God bless you. God bless you. Thank you. God bless you. And it was just like,
dude, it was ridiculous. You know, I was reading a story about this new bicycle Karen in New York, who, I don't know if you follow this story. She went to rent a Metro bike, and they claimed that she stole it from this black dude who had rented the Metro bike, and she was a bike stealing Karen in New York. This thing went viral, and she has lawyered up. The bike stealing Karen has lawyered up, and it turns out that she's a nurse who works in that hospital, who's 7 months pregnant, who actually had the receipt for the bike in her hand and now has a lawyer. So the storyline coming out of the media was this was a Karen going after this black dude who had rented a bike, when in reality, of course, it was the other way around.
But then watch this though. Now they'll report it saying, while she shows the receipt, it is obvious her intent was to steal.
I think they're going to retreat like they do on many of the other stories.
Do they?
The GoFundMe is like $1 million or something already. And, you know, this is what you have to go through now.
They're not retreating on Daniel Penny.
No, I agree. But I'm saying that's a legal matter that's in the DA. This is a social matter, where it turns out that she has the receipt and was getting a bike, and she's a pregnant woman, and she's a first responder, and she worked in the hospital in front of where the bike is, and blah, blah, blah. 8 years old, fill in the blank, couldn't be any worse. So, just another viral story that has had the pin stuck in it, as we've seen since, Jussie Smollett, I guess, right, Eric? I mean, where does this go? How far back does this go?
Speaking of which, you've heard about the Duke and Duchess of Smollett, right?
Is that a nation state now, Smollett, or?
Yeah, I think it is. When Harry and Meghan went through their 2-hour car chase with the paparazzi, one of the nicknames thrown upon them is the Duke and Duchess of Smollett.
That's funny.
That's perfect.
That's funny.
Hey,
hello, fellas.
Stein, what's going on? Where you been?
Sorry, I'm a little late. My buddy Kevin Brennan asked me to fill in as a guest on his show, and he's just a really good buddy of mine. He's having a bunch of drama with his podcast, so I just was kind of doing him a little favor. But we went late. We're supposed to end at 5:30, and we went a little late, so
no problem.
I apologize, guys.
Alex,
I'm sorry.
Your furniture's on fire in back of you. You may want to.
I know. Well, it's a green screen, dude. This is the art of illusion. Yes, this is the Primetime 99. This is the Pimp on a Blimp Conspiracy Castle. So what you see is not real. Remember that. Anything you see on tape is probably not real.
Gotcha.
But this is live.
I'm just trolling. Obviously, stuff's real, but anything you see me do, it's it could be a bit or an illusion. I want people to, be cognizant.
Well, let me ask you about the Blimp. Like, where do you keep the Blimp? Is it a Goodyear Blimp? What's the deal with the Blimp?
Well, I mean, basically, the Blimp is a metaphor for a lifestyle that we need to live. Everybody's like, wants to travel and wants to fly, but really a real pimp flies in a blimp, a dirigible,
Gotcha.
because, it's a different mechanism of travel that's very unique that a pimp would have, because a pimp's not going to have the standard car. A pimp's going to put rims on it. He's going to put some bling, and there's nothing more blinged out than the Blimp. So it's just a metaphor as, for living that pimp lifestyle. And this is another thing. We got to fake it till we make it. You know, sometimes we have to act like we're all pimps on blimps. And it's in my catchphrase. So it's,
now, what about the
multifaceted.
99? What does that mean? 99. Is that
That's my high school football number. Yeah, well,
I knew it. I was going to guess that. I was going to guess that. Yeah.
That's my high school football number, but I love it because I'm so into conspiracies. I'm a tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist. And like the number for the Illuminati is supposedly 33 because it comes from the Bible. A third of the angels were casted out from heaven. So really 99 is occultic because it's 333. So I don't know. I mean, it's just funny. It has all these double meanings. So now everybody thinks I'm in the Illuminati with Barack Obama, which is fine.
How do you get into the Illuminati? I'm just curious how people join. Like, is there an essay thing you got to write or take a test?
Usually you do a humiliation ritual. You have to like go into a coffin supposedly and like masturbate in front of your peers or something like that, or like kill a cat. And I mean, this is just obviously I'm purely speculating, but have you ever seen the movie Eyes Wide Shut with Stanley Kubrick?
I don't know if he's in the movie, but I didn't see it with him myself. I think he made it.
You know what I'm talking about? The movie that
right,
he directed, obviously. Yeah.
Tom Cruise
Nicole
Kidman.
Yeah. Supposedly there are parties where you wear a mask like that and you have weird sexual rituals. You know, I mean, I've never been invited. If I got invited, I feel like I'd have to go or else they might kill you. So
well, there's
you don't have a choice to join.
Yeah, there's a club right here in Beverly Hills which had a multi-part series on Showtime called Sanctum, which I'd recommend to people who want to watch this high-end, Eyes Wide Shut, actual real club. Check out a series called Sanctum.
And it's in LA, or it's a drama, or
it's in Beverly Hills. It's an actual club, a private club like Eyes Wide Shut. Yeah. In fact, as soon as the show's over, I got to get over there. But nevertheless, the membership I think is about 40 to 50,000 a year, so it keeps out some of the riffraff.
I think it probably keeps a lot out unless they're like the prostitutes that they need or whatever.
Did you read just now in the Durham report that Obama was kept up to date on everything? I just read that this morning. I haven't read the whole article, but it said in the Durham report that Obama was kept up on all of the different steps involved in the Russia hoax.
Well, of course, because he's the de facto leader of the Democratic Party. So, I mean, why would he not be privy to all of that? And they all knew it was fake. They were just making stuff up, throwing spaghetti against the wall, and none of it stuck. But this is what's mad, or makes me the most mad, is that this is very similar to the weapons of mass destruction that we didn't find. They tell us, oh, we got it. This is it. It's a fact. The FBI, we got this. And then, months later, oh, well, we were wrong. Oopsie poopsie. No consequences, no actions. As a matter of fact, people in the FBI, I don't know this. I mean, I guess James Comey lost his job, but they're not getting demoted. They're probably getting promoted because of all this Durham bullcrap. But I don't know.
Well, I think it was 3 years ago when this started. Robert Barnes said on this show that no one would be indicted, that Durham is a deep state cover-up artist who's going to issue a report and drag it out as long as possible and then indict no one. And Barnes turned out to be right.
Well, and Mark, I want to make this point because, now we're sitting here complaining about this, but our government, it's not, they try to give us this illusion that it's right versus left and that, we can actually make some sort of decision, but really it's a uniparty. Like, even though we put our faith into, and I love Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's my friend, but it's like Marjorie Taylor Greene's not going to save me. AOC on the left is not going to save you. They all are just trying to save their own asses. They will all vote for a multinational corporation over their constituents any day of the week. So it's like we have this illusion like, oh man, we're going to own the libs, because we've got them caught in this crime. The right's doing crimes too. I mean, they're all as crooked as a dog's hind leg. So for me, it's very black pill that, you call me a conservative, but man, I am just as wary of a conservative politician probably than any liberal politician, because I'm wary of all politicians, not excluding their political, ideology.
No, I agree. I look at myself as a populist.
Me too.
More than I've never been in the Republican side, so I don't look at myself as conservative socially. That's for sure. But this whole populist movement is starting to spread with people like yourself, and we also had on Vega last week, right? Jose Vega, awesome. Eric. Yeah, Jose Vega he's doing stuff in the street like you do, Alex, inside these town hall meetings. I mean, he's doing them inside town hall meetings too. I mean, you're going to these legislature things and just having a wonderful time. Who was the black dude with the giant tits? Your friend,
my wife's boyfriend, Don Terrius.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm bringing him. Him and I are about to go. There's this guy, Sam Hyde. He's one of the most canceled comedians on the internet, but he's doing a 24-hour live stream where people live in the house, where they live in a house. It's like similar to Big Brother. Yeah, I know, but like a high production, even though he's doing it on his own dime. And so I'm actually going into that house this week, and I'm bringing Don Terrius. And so I'm going there to kind of, liven up. Not that the show's already very lively. I'm just saying I'm going there to mix things up and kind of troll the people that are living in the house. And I'm bringing Don Terrius. So he's going to be like, probably using people's toothbrushes to wipe his derriere, I'm guessing. I mean, it's going to be nuts.
Here's my title for the show: Last House of the Left. Thanks for coming. Tell him what he's won, Eric. Tell him what he's won. Anyway, you started this thing when, Alex? When did you begin this rage?
Well, I'll give you my origin story. So I'll try to give you the Cliff Notes version. So I worked for a TV show on distributed by Viacom called Cheaters, where we catch people cheating on their husbands and wives. You guys have probably seen it.
I remember that.
I signed an NDA, so I can only say so much. It's actually still going on. I think they're on season 20. But right around the pandemic, like April 2020, or excuse me, about a few months before that, the host is a guy named Clark Gable. His grandfather was Clark Gable from Gone with the Wind.
Wait, I think I know this kid. I think I know this kid in Hollywood.
He's from L.A.
Oh, no, I know this. I remember this guy. Yeah.
Yeah, well, he died. He was the host of the show. He died of a drug overdose. And I'm telling you, I hung out with him all the time, Mark.
Yeah,
like I saw him.
Kid.
He was always pretty sober. Like I would never see him drunk at work.
Yeah.
But he would sometimes come a little high or something to work. Because I was the producer. I'd be like, Clark, because I could tell if he was really messed up. But as soon as we were done, he'd have a 6-pack of beer in the fridge, drinking. He was that type of party animal where he had enough professionalism because he grew up in the industry where he kind of knew you can't be whacked out on set.
I remember this kid.
But as soon as he's all set, he's like, we're going to the strip club. We're getting fucked up. That kind of mentality. Yep. And so I'd hang out with him a little bit. I would not even get to his level. Not that I'm some saint. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying he was that wild. I have a friend like him too. My buddy, just some guys can drink a lot. They can party. You almost can't keep up with them type guys. And I'm kind of naturally like that. So when these guys are drunk, they're just even more insane. But Clark, he had a prescription for pain pills. He had a prescription for, I think, Xanax and for Adderall. He ran out of his pain pills. So he went and bought what he thought were pain pills from a street dealer, but they was just pressed fentanyl pills. And so it was pressed strong.
Just say that again so our audience understands this, because I've been talking about this for months. So say that again so we can understand.
What happened is he was taking a prescribed pharmaceutical drug. I don't know what it was. Some opiate painkiller. Right. Well, he decided, I'm not going to buy heroin or Oxycontin or whatever, or I'm going to go buy the similar pain pill. But what these dealers are doing, especially here in Texas, is they take all this cheap fentanyl and they have pill presses where they can literally mix it with whatever water soluble mix they want.
Thank you. Yep, go on.
And because they're mixing these in a bathtub or a mixing machine or whatever, sometimes these doses are not going to be correct. And that's why a lot of people are dying. We've had more drug overdose deaths in the past year than recorded in American history. It's because people are getting hot pills. They're getting pills that just have too much pop.
I've talked about it quite a few times on this channel, and I'm a drug counselor also on the side. But the reality of it is they're pressing Xanax and other pills as completely as fentanyl with pill pressing machines.
They'll tell you it's Xanax and it's pure fentanyl or whatever, mixed with whatever.
That's right. And everybody who's dying here in LA thinks they're getting, whether it's Xanax or Adderall or whatever it is, they're dying from fentanyl overdoses. And it's rampant. It's rampant, Alex. It's all over the country. But Texas and California, Southern California, hit extremely hard.
Really bad because
I remember this kid.
So he died of a drug overdose. I was really shook. They said, Alex, you're going to be the next host. We need you to fill in. We only have a small turnaround during our hiatus. And I was like, this is awesome. I got in the best shape of my life. I mean, I was really depressed about him. When I say it's awesome, I was in this weird thing, but I was like, I'm going to honor Clark's legacy. He was my friend. He would want me to do it because Clark and I were tight. Yeah. So I was really excited for it. And then about a month before we were about to start shooting, they're like, hey, Alex, we're going to go a different way. We're going to go with this guy, Peter Guns. He's a black dude, which is fine. But our audience, they kind of wanted more skew towards our audience, which, like I said, I don't fault him for taking the job, but how I know it was done for that reason. His name, he's a rapper named Peter Guns, and they made him change his name to Peter Panky because they didn't want to glamorize gun violence.
Oh, God.
Seriously, yeah. So they made him change his name for Peter Guns. And it ended up, I was so depressed for about a month, but right then another camera guy that worked there, he was like, Alex, you just need to start your own podcast. Like, you could do it. Just host your own thing. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm so mad. I had this idea. Like, I thought I was going to start hosting a show. And then a month later, I'm like, well, you're not hosting a show anymore. And it paid well. It wasn't that great, but it was a 6-figure job, low six, about $100,000 a year. But you only worked 6 months of the year. It's not that it was a really good gig. You're not working the whole year. And I was devastated. But then I started my own podcast. I started talking about weird conspiracies, kind of live streaming, taking super chats, interacting, taking phone calls, doing just whatever you guys are doing. Yeah. I didn't start off on StreamYard. I should have started using StreamYard. I think I would have been even more successful because StreamYard is so user-friendly. I started using OBS. But just like us, I just kept doing it. But my podcast was growing. I did like 2,000 subs, 3,000 subs pretty early, but I started to go speak at city councils. And before I went like super viral, the Fauci ouchie, I would kind of speak serious and the video would get maybe 10,000 views, but that helped kind of put me on the map. Right. And then the one that put me on the map before the Fauci ouchie, before the one that went like 10 million hits or whatever, is I went when Texas passed the heartbeat bill, and I went and I said, oh, this is terrible, where they limited abortion after I think it's like 12 weeks or 6 weeks. I forget what the limit is. And I said, this is terrible because it's my favorite contraception. Contraception is an abortion, because I don't have to wear a condom, and so that Charlie Kirk, Tim Pool, all these like conservative people shared. It was like, look at this crazy guy. They thought I was real. Right. And then shortly thereafter, I went, I said, and I noticed that worked. I noticed like me totally LARPing as this astroturfing as this like crazy, bizarre guy, which is really just a direct representation of what the politicians in power want with this after-birth abortion, or they literally, I grew up, I'm not a very old man, but I grew up where I knew girls that had an abortion. It was the worst thing in the world. It was the biggest scarlet letter. Now girls are making TikToks about them. Right. So it's weird, we've changed as a culture where abortion is because of the mainstream media, and whether you like abortion or not, people can have their opinion. I don't particularly like it, but what I'm saying is the fact that now it's become basically a form of contraceptive. That's you can just get an abortion, so it doesn't matter. So I realized that was beneficial. And then I went in and just in nurse's scrubs, and I had like music, copyright free music, but my iPhone was like messing up. It just couldn't get on the Wi-Fi. I couldn't play the video. So I just acapella like, Dr. Fauci, give me that ouchie. And then I got 10 million views. Then shortly thereafter, I got to go on my biological father, Tucker Carlson's show, because then I went to another city council dressed as Ukrainian Foreign Legion. And I tried to recruit the council members to join the Ukrainian Foreign Legion. And somebody said that to Tucker Carlson. He said he liked that video so much. Then he had me on, and then once Tucker had me on, it was like, I'm a pimp on a blimp. So that's my story.
Dude, you're like the story. Texas, Sasha Baron Cohen with Ali G.
I love Sasha. Oh my gosh, that's the biggest compliment. Yeah, I mean, he's the best. Yeah, I mean, he's the most talented guy ever. Politically, him and I don't really agree on a lot of stuff. We don't disagree on a bunch. He's a little wild, but dude, he's the funniest. He's the best. Sasha Baron Cohen. I could never knock his talent or just the content he created. That show still holds up today. As a matter of fact, you can go back and watch those clips. They're almost funnier than some of his trolls with the politicians now.
Right. I mean, the Ali G stuff still holds up without a doubt. I mean, the Trump one is really interesting where he talks about the ice cream cone with a not dripless cone.
Yeah, but Trump immediately
he knew it. Trump was in on it.
Yeah, he knew it was a gimmick. Trump was not dumb, but some of those people didn't realize. But Trump knew it was a waste of time from the jump. I forget what their method was for getting the people. I think they paid them. I think they just like had a high budget and paid the people or something. They would give them like a high donation.
Oh, you mean how they got the
like how did they get it? I think they would just give like how they got those high powerful politicians. I believe that's what they do. They'd be like, oh, we'll give you 5,000 because you can buy a politician for probably $5,000, 2,000. It's a lot of money, but it's really a little bit of money. And
when you go to these town halls, do they know who you are at the same? Where were you? Like in Denton, Texas, or somewhere?
And I've done everywhere. I mean, I've been all over the country, from San Francisco to New York. But yeah, they're trying to limit me in the two places where I went most viral, in Dallas and in Plano. They're trying to get rid of Plano. Right. Yeah, they're trying to get rid of the public comment and do it where it's not on video, or do it once a month. And it got universally shut down. All the citizens actually spoke out against it. So they haven't limited it, but they've just shortened it. Like in Dallas, they put a 30-minute time limit on it. So that can kind of restrict me because they can put me towards the end of the thing. And then if a lot of people are signed up, I won't get to speak. So Dallas, they've effectively kind of shut me down a little bit because they always put me at the end of the list and they have a strict time limit.
Interesting. So, the ones that happen here in LA are completely off the rail street people. Every single speaker And they just go, your time is up, sir. Your time, Thunderhead Newman, your time is up. And you're like, who's next? And then it's one psycho after another. I mean, you would fit right in here at the LA one.
That's the problem. He wouldn't stand out.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that, but the LA one is the hottest one now because they have those weird political activists or getting mad at the councilman. You know, they and they're not even funny. They're just in there like F you, and they're trying to disrupt. I mean, it's just
those are
real
union guys.
show.
Those are union plants who are doing that. They want a complete. They're trying to get a complete socialist city council. So that's their goal. They're trying to out the leftist to bring in the Marxists. So it's a great battle in the city council. Because
I think a Mexican person said something racist against another Mexican Latino person, so they wanted to cancel him. Is that what it was, or something like that?
Well, there was 3 of them. Yeah, they were all Latinos, and it was all about redistricting and how they were going to carve up the districts, and nobody wanted the hot potato, being the upscale white district. Nobody wanted that one
because they wouldn't win.
They couldn't work it. They couldn't work their magic there. So they were caught on hot mics, you know, saying stuff about various people on.
That's just anybody that studied political science. They're just making a political judgment on what would be the best for their campaign.
Right. It was about the districts themselves and carving them up ethnically. But it was a plant because they then released the audio and they were trying to force them to resign. Kevin DeLeon, the guy who weathered the storm, just said, F you, I ain't leaving. And people said,
and he supposedly punched a guy, but they were pushing him at that event.
They were pushing him. Yeah, they were shoving him. That was another setup. Yeah, he's a tough son of a bitch, DeLeon. He came from the street. He came from the street. But anyway, that being said, you've got the 99, you've got the Alex Stein, you played football in high school or college or somewhere in Texas. And somehow, I hate to ask you this question, but Stein sounds like some sort of a Jewish name.
Of course. Oh my gosh. Everybody, you know, it's funny. Growing up, no, my dad even said this. My dad.
When you were in rabbinical college, was there any anti-Semitic?
No, I'm not a rabbi, but this is one thing. Well, you know,
when
honestly,
you were fought in the Israeli war, did you feel?
Listen, Mark, everybody on the right or a lot of like, you know, kind of alt-right people, they get mad, people cry too much anti-Semitism, but anti-Semitism does exist because somebody will see Stein and immediately be like, F you. So I'm not saying it's as bad as some people say it is, but it does exist.
It's anti-Semitism?
Yeah, of course. Captain Obvious. But my point is, my dad said as a young man, he said, Alex, you know, I didn't know my father. He got my mother pregnant and left. He went and started a family in New York. My dad never got to meet him. He paid child support for my dad, but my dad just never hung out with him because the guy started a different family. Didn't get along with my grandmother. So my dad, we were raised Christian, and my dad told me at a young age, he's like, Alex, you know, I think one day you should change your last name to Stone. When I was young, I was like, no, I'm not going to change my last name. My dad didn't change his. He's just, everybody's always going to think you're Jewish. And I was like, Dad, what are you talking about? And now, literally, I mean, I'm still happy I kept my last name, but dude, everywhere I go, everybody wants to know, are you Jewish? Are you Jewish? It's just funny.
Well, it's like a boy.
I just got asked on the last podcast, Mark, was I Jewish?
It's like a boy named Sue, Alex. It's just a boy named Jew. The reality of it is the Alex part really gives it away, because if it was like, I don't know, Tom Stein, Alex kind of goes with Jew a little bit more than Tom or Dave Stein. You know what I mean? It's kind of Jewish.
Mark, there is 50 Alex Steins. No, I'm saying there's 55 Alex Steins on Facebook. I know. So many Alex Steins. There's too many damn Alex Steins.
I mean, I think half of the Israeli Knesset is named Alex Stein.
Yeah, there's one of the biggest guys. One of the biggest guys in the Jewish Supreme Court is Alex Stein.
They run the world. They run everything. It's a secret cabal. They're involved in everything. Henry Ford, General Motors.
Let's be real, though. I mean, anti-Semitism.
Illuminati.
Well, no. They talk about the Jewish Illuminati, though, but it is annoying. It is annoying that
this. I haven't even heard. I just made that up.
It makes me mad. It makes me mad that we can't say, and this is me saying, it's my last name, Stein, that there aren't a lot of Jewish people in power at movie studios or banks or, doctors. I'm just saying that's objectively true. I don't think that's anti-Semitism.
How many thousands?
No.
3,000, 4,000.
Well, we're not going to get into any numbers.
You have been a fan, you told me, of a former guy named Latka on Taxi.
Yes.
Is that true? Is that your hero?
Andy Kaufman. Are you kidding?
A
He's the best.
known Jew. He's a known Jew, a dead
Yeah,
Jew.
well,
Why
I'll take
Stein did you follow Kaufman? Why Kaufman? Why Stein? Go on.
Well, it's funny that you say that. Why?
It's not so funny.
It is. No, it is funny.
Okay.
You know why? Because when I watched the movie with, and the reason why I like Andy Kaufman is not even really Andy Kaufman. It's really Jim Carrey, because Jim Carrey, A Man on the Moon, that movie was like so funny. It just changed my life as a young kid. And then that's when I started looking up YouTube. So that's what put me on to Andy Kaufman. But I just loved it. Like as a kid, I loved wrestling. He wrestled women. And he was so ahead of his time by creating an intergender wrestling league. Really, that would solve our problems now. You can let any transgender person compete in their own division, and women can choose to be in it. You know, why not put biological men in it? You know, just have a different league that anybody can compete. But the idea that one of the best cyclists, I think she's won like 32 races, she just didn't qualify. She's complaining they're calling her a TERF, trans exclusionary radical feminist, because she lost to a trans person in a cycling race when men objectively have stronger calves and legs than a woman. I mean, that's science. And the left that loves to trust the science, just when it comes to biological sex, there's just, we don't take
biological sex is my favorite kind of sex, because there is viral, there are other kinds of sex, but the biological sex, that's the one I like. Go on.
That's the one they want to mess with the most, though.
So your favorite show growing up was Taxi, or no? You didn't care?
No, but they would play. No, they would play the reruns. So I loved Lotka. No, I would watch. I mean, I guess that's where I was first exposed to him, seeing those Taxi reruns. But where I was like, oh, Andy Kaufman's so cool, was when I watched Man on the Moon. And there is something too about him dying. It just made him even more of a cult hero, you know, posthumously. I can't even say that right, but you know what I'm talking about. There's something about when a person dies. It's like Mitch Hedberg. He was a great comedian, but because he died young, now he kind of, or Patrice O'Neill is a great, incredible comedian. Bill Hicks is the best. Bill Hicks is one of the best, and he died young. Where it kind of gives them this lore. Not that they don't deserve it. Not that Bill Hicks is not one of the best, or Andy Kaufman, but it increases. It's like they were great,
obviously,
and then they made them even greater.
Cosby, also Bill Cosby, right? The black comic.
Yeah, what's Bill up to now? Is he out of jail? He got out of jail.
No,
right?
he's going on a national. He's going on a national tour. He's going on tour.
I'm got tickets. I got front row tickets.
I got tickets.
Yeah.
Now I was watching a thing with Viva this morning with Chrissy Mara, who was mentioned you in the interview.
My friend.
Mm-hmm. Are you friends, or is that just her showbiz talk, or some sort of?
No, Chrissy and I'm going to her wedding. No, I heard her.
You're going to the wedding. Friends. You're not her fiance. There's another guy.
No, but I am going to object. I'm going to object. I've already said that. That's going to be my comedy bit. So when they ask if anybody objects, I'm running up there. I'm going to say I object, and this is not going to go down. We'll see. I had a friend named Joe Coleman who used to blow himself up on stage, and we went to John Duke Kish's wedding to Billy Woods, who was a fashion model. And they said, if anybody objects to this wedding, speak up now, for I will hold your peace. And then Joe Coleman showed up, and he opened up his coat. And as he would do, is he had all kinds of, mock dynamite M80s and firecrackers and everything. That was part of his performance art. And he blew himself up to protest the wedding right there. In a cloud of smoke, he would run out. And I thought, that's what you should do with the Mara wedding. No, I like that performance art, but now if you try to do that, dude, I would be on the FBI. I would go to jail. If you even try to pull that stunt, because my buddy, Cassidy Campbell, has a big YouTube channel. Like, I don't want to do any pranks with bombs or guns. Now a guy does a viral video.
You can't.
I know, but
I'll tell you something interesting.
That's so cool that he could do that.
Joe Coleman was a genius. I was in the National Improvisation Theater with Michael Kaufman, who was Andy Kaufman's brother. And I remember he had to go down to Mexico when Andy finally died to go retrieve the body. All kidding aside.
Oh, wow.
And I remember them saying that he faked his death and everything else. Of course, he was just looking for a Hail Mary down there in Mexico and Tijuana, in terms of cancer treatment at the end. But I remember when Michael had to leave and go down to Mexico and get his brother. So I remember that. But yeah, Kaufman was a genius, no doubt about it. But what about his alter ego, his manager? Also a genius.
Of course, Tony Clifton. Tony Clifton's great. And that's why they thought he was still alive, I guess, because Bob Zamuda, his producer, would play Tony Clifton as well. Yeah. And there is something, too, what's weird is, and I don't know why I keep on bringing my buddy Cassidy Campbell, and I do this, too, you can kind of get locked in a character, and you almost feel safe. Like, he probably felt safe acting like Tony Clifton, because he could be like, F you, and act crazy, but he was in a character. It wasn't him, and it's weird like that, being able to do that. It's a mental illness too. It literally is a little bit of a mental illness. That's why the best actors are probably a little mentally ill.
Are you mentally ill is what I want to know.
Yes. Are you kidding? I was kicked as a head. I was dropped on my head as a baby, kicked, bit by dogs. Yeah, I think my brain, when it formed, it didn't fully expand. It didn't get enough oxygen.
Did you do any theater when you were in college or in high school?
No, it's funny you say that. You had to take I get so hyped up. Well, you have to take the normal theater class, but I think one of the only classes I ever got an F in college is a theater class, because I missed the final. I was like, it was like my second semester or third semester in college, and I went out of town to Destin, Florida, because this girl I really liked, and I skipped the final, not thinking I would get an F. I thought the teacher would give me a break, and they didn't. It was actually a theater class, and now I love theater. So it's funny. That was one of the worst classes I ever did. And I love theater. I loved acting. I liked the class. I would have gotten an A in the class. They just failed me for not going.
All right. Okay. Stop getting excited. I asked you one question.
It's a soft spot. You asked me one class. For me, trying to go get laid, I got an F in a class. It was the dumbest decision I ever made. As a 21-year-old kid or 20-year-old kid.
Gilbert Gottfried used to call me up at like 5 o'clock in the morning from the road somewhere, and he would name two celebrities, and you had to have sex with one of the two. You couldn't get out. He'd call me like 5 o'clock in the morning from the middle of Iowa. So he would say, and I'll give this to you, Rosie O'Donnell, or Roseanne Barr. And you can't get out of it. You got to pick one.
Those two... right now, Rosie's face looks so bad. So it's Roseanne. It's Roseanne Barr. Yeah. Right. Rosie's face. Have you seen Rosie lately? Have you seen her face lately?
No.
She's doing selfies. No, it's not even her weight. I'm just saying her skin looks really bad.
I meant to ask you. The incident with
taking care of herself.
The incident with Chrissy, where she was heckled by the water buffaloes. I was going to ask you about that. I did not realize the size of those women until they exited ringside when they got up, and she had that throwaway line saying, "I hope they don't get a harpoon in the neck on the way out." That was a great line.
That was a good line. They left. No, and she got him riled up, because when they left, they knocked over. I'm so mad we didn't get footage of that. But they knocked over all the merch, not just Chrissy's merch, but Lila Hart. There's like 2 tables, and they just knocked it all down. That was the best crescendo of it all, and we didn't even get that on tape, unfortunately. But
what were they doing there? I don't understand. Were they just going? That was like a club night for them. It was.
Yeah, it's a Saturday night at 10 o'clock comedy show. So even though Chrissy sold a lot of tickets, because it was at Mockingbird Station, there's a lot of a lot of wander into a comedy club. So I think they were just there probably having fun.
Because of the free, there was a free buffet, or no? There was nothing.
No, it was a 2-drink minimum, so they had to get drinks, and there's like 4 of them.
What was it? There was like a trough. There was a trough of the drinks. Yeah. So what was going on there? There was. They were
just literally. They had like buckets, and they were just putting their heads in a bucket of margarita.
Now, what happened when we last left you? You were headed to Miami to interview trannies on the street when we last saw you.
And I got some. We caught a guy. He was getting hit on by this transgender young lady or whatever. I forget whichever. Yeah, I guess trans woman. Yeah, sorry. I get mixed up, because you got to say they're a trans man or trans woman. So it was a trans woman. He had no idea he was really drunk, and you could just tell this guy was like, the woman was built like a basketball player for the Miami Heat or something. They had a very stout frame. And so we were just walking by, we're like, should we tell this guy? And when we told him, he just was like, no, really? And he was walking down the street so mad that I guess that we filmed him, or that maybe we busted his chances of getting laid. I was kind of a cock block. I kind of felt guilty now looking back. At first I felt like I was protecting him, but maybe he wanted to be with.
Well, we have another guest coming on the show right now. So I just wanted to
bring him on, please.
Now think back to yourself. Think back of all the different names before this trans craze started that we used to use trans for, like Trans Am.
Transmission.
Transmission, the best one.
Right, transmission, Trans Am. Can anybody in the chat come up with a few more? Because there's a lot of transition, Trans Am, but there's a lot of trans National Airways. There was a lot of weird trans things that are now gone. They're now gone, Alex. You can't even use them anymore.
I know, because it's a political or whatever, political correctness. But my favorite one, though, is I love when people on the far left are saying that Jesus would have been trans because he transitioned from the Father, the Son, to the Holy Ghost. Have you guys
That's
seen
funny.
that one?
That's
yeah,
funny.
I love that one. Yeah, that's
So
one of
what
my
is he,
favorite
a
ones.
3-spirit instead of 2-spirit?
Yeah,
in
so
that
saying
line?
instead of 2-spirit, you nailed it, Eric. He's a 3-spirit instead of 2. Yeah, so Jesus was transgender according to the people on the left.
Well, he was Jewish, right? Like Stein, a boy named Jesus. They named him Jesus, knowing
He was a
going to
Jewish transgender man.
They named him
transgender woman.
Jesus. They named him Jesus, knowing he was going to get his ass kicked in the Spanish neighborhoods. But okay, so what are you doing next? You're going to do a little TV. You're going to do a little.
Well, I'm lucky. I'm very blessed, Mark. I work for the Blaze. I work for Glenn Beck until they
How is
fire
that
me.
with Glenn Beck? Like, what is he on now, Glenn Beck? Because I understand he went through a transition from like a Scientologist.
That kind of trans.
He went from
Vicodin. He's never been a
to,
Scientologist. No, he's
was
not.
he on
used to be
Vicodin for 5 years?
No. That was Rush.
I'm
that
sorry.
was Rush.
I conflate the two. I conflate the two.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
they are buddies, and we actually have at the Blaze. I say we. It's Glenn's. Glenn has Rush's actual gold microphone displayed as soon as you walk into the Blaze, which is pretty.
I think
cool.
there's a gay newspaper called the Blaze. I'm not sure if he knows that.
Maybe. I mean, what is it? Flaming. That's part of it. It is what it is.
By the way, there's a chair on fire in back of you. I just wanted to point.
Not yet, Mark. But I'm telling you, Glenn Beck. I at first, I was a little intimidated by him, to be honest. But he's the nicest guy.
How big is he? Is he big or something? Or
no, I mean he's just a normal sized guy. But he walks with an air of authority because everybody respects him in the building. He is the top dog. So you know what I'm saying. But no, he's really down to earth. Actually, to me now. I mean, not that he ever wasn't. I'm just saying I was kind of like afraid. Oh, I'm not gonna go bug Glenn. But now when I see him, I talk to him. I'm cordial with him. But dude, let me give you some inside baseball.
Okay.
So I'm doing a stupid bit last night, and I feel bad. This kid has come to 3 of my comedy shows. He's a big fan of mine. I think he might have Asperger's or something. He's like, I really want to be on your show.
You're on the right channel for this.
Yeah, yes. So he's he's been messaging me for months, ever since the kid met me, and then finally I had a bit idea where he has long hair. I was like, I want you to pretend to be a Patriot Front guy and wear the girdle, and then I'm going to rip it off and I'm going to say you're transgender. He's like, okay, I'm down to do it. And he was so funny. He did such a great job. We leave. He walks out of the building. I walked him in and out of the building just because I was extra careful. But before I had him on the show, play this character, I said to him, there's other shows that work here. Please just talk to me, my producer, Jimmy, and this guy's on the show is active too. Just sit on these 4 chairs, even though it's a big hallway, you can walk. He's literally, the chair's actually next to Glenn's office, just the way the format is, because it's next. Glenn's office is closest to the stage. I go, don't talk to anybody. I'm not rude. I'm just like, dude, just sit here, please. It's like 20 minutes before my show starts. Like, just sit here. I don't want you to move in case I need you, whatever. Just professional. I'm in the zone. I'm like about to start the show, so I'm trying to do 10 different things at once. He does a great job. I'm like, dude, I'm going to have you back. That was so funny. I'm going to use you again, Aiden. He did way better than I expected. Then he sends me a message, and I should have known this. The conversation I had walking out the door, he's like, have you seen that new release of those aliens that supposedly killed somebody? I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I suppose there's some UFOs that murdered somebody that's like in a field in Oklahoma. And I'm like, okay, sure. Whatever. I don't even pay it attention. And I'm like, yeah, I'll look into it or something. He walks out. Then he messaged me on Instagram an hour later. He's like, hey, here's this link I told you about. I was like, okay, thanks. He's like, hey, if you mind, give it to Glenn. He said he was interested in it. I go, Glenn Beck? ? He's like, yeah, I ran into Glenn while you were walking your show. And I told him that some UFOs died. And dude, my heart sunk. My heart just sunk. Because Glenn doesn't care. He's busy. He's not going to care if one guy talks to you for 10 seconds. But it couldn't make me look any worse, any less professional. He doesn't care. Bro. It doesn't make the kid look bad. The guy, Glenn doesn't care. But Glenn's like, why are this guy's Alex Stein's guest? And Glenn is so nice. He's not going to be like, F you to this kid. But now this kid's trying to sit. And if he would have been to Glenn, like, oh, I like you. I want to take a picture. That's annoying enough. But he asked him about a UFO. He's like, Glenn, have you heard about these UFOs? And I'm like, why would you tell a serious broadcaster? Like, you can tell me that. I'm a joke. I'll laugh. We can make fun of it. Glenn is a serious broadcaster that is in the Radio Hall of Fame. And he's
in the Radio Hall of Fame?
Yes, Glenn's in the Radio Hall of Fame. Yeah, he shows great on Sirius. Yeah, no, he's in it. And Yeah, so I'm a little mad at the kid, and I was like, "Yeah, you're not going to be able to come back to the studio for a while, but I just can't."
So let me ask
have
something
you.
about UFOs, because Tucker was running episode after episode after you were on about UFOs.
He was mentioning it. You know, there's something weird about that. But listen, is there an alien life form from like billions of light years away? I don't know. I think there'd be more likely if there was some sort of extraterrestrial, it would be some sort of being that's already here, you know? So, because this is what they literally tell us, the science, is that we know more about space than the ocean, and that there's actually like species of fish and stuff that we don't even know about. So I'm just guessing. This is pure speculation. I'm not saying if aliens existed, but I feel like if they did exist, they could like hide in the ocean and come up. They don't need to hide in, you know, the Milky Way galaxy.
Would you consider hosting a UFO search episode or series?
I don't know.
Like
I don't know. I mean, I'm a goofball, but I don't necessarily believe in UFOs.
A serious show where Stein, like an X-Files, like a Stein Files, where you go.
Well, I would do that because I'm a conspiracy theorist, but this is my whole point with the UFO. Now we find out that we have all these balloons in the sky because we have this Chinese balloon, right? So the idea that there's crap floating in the sky, there probably is, but it's just a human beings. It's not some, you know, extraterrestrial.
Do you believe that there were Chinese aboard those vessels? Actual Chinese?
No, there's just cameras on them. We have more balloons than China has. Well, yeah, there's been drones, so we have as many balloons in the air, if not more, than any other country.
Were there more balloons at the West Hollywood Gay Parade than there were in the Chinese?
No, there's more. The Chinese have more
balloons. More
yes.
balloons. Are there Chinese gay people in Shanghai?
No, I don't know if Chinese people are allowed to be gay, but there's another thing with those balloons. Supposedly how it worked is that they could let out air and the balloons could just catch a jet stream. So it didn't even really take any fuel or gas, that they could literally be moved by the direction of the wind by, you know, elevating or lowering with canisters.
Now, what were the lyrics of that thing that you were doing the other day about Zelensky, that Ukraine?
Insane in the Ukraine.
I insane for the Ukraine, you know.
Yeah.
What is it? You know.
And who was the other guy? Who was Uncle Sam there with you?
That's my producer, Jimmy, and we wrote the song together, and we've been producing more of this musical comedy, because that's kind of what made me go viral, is doing these cringy raps. And now anybody can be a rapper with TikTok. So it's like, people like it. People love these stupid songs because they're a joke. They're not meant to be taken seriously. And the Ukraine one, dude, that Ron Filipowski, this is like this leftist guy shared that. Dude, so many people on the left, oh, we hate it. Look at the Conservative Party's a representative of the Conservative Party. And it's like, no, I'm not a representative of any party. You know, that's what they try to label us. They're like, oh, they've gone so far downhill for having a sense of humor, for making fun of the Ukraine war, for joking around. We've lost our sense of humor as a society, is my point.
It seemed very South Parky. I kind of enjoyed it. You know what I mean?
And I love South Park. Yeah.
Of course you love South Park. It's obvious.
It's so bad. It's good. I mean, that's where there is some sort of like, you know, I don't know, cyclical thing where it's just, okay, it's so cringe that it's entertaining. It's like drama content too. That's sadly what I'm almost most drawn to in this day and age. You know, kind of used to be news, but now I almost like to hear about, even if it's two strangers, if they're having like an internet drama or internet beef, I'll read every tweet or everything about it. But, you know, now nothing interests me because everything sucks. Everything's
what
so
happened to the
correct.
show where they repoed the cars? Remember that one where they
Well, I loved it. Miami Repo or whatever.
Yes,
I used to love those shows. Yeah.
I love that show where that was great because the people came running out in their underwear and havoc ensued, and they tried to bribe them and all kinds of crazy crap. But you can't say anything about cheaters. I know that. But can you say something about cheaters?
Well, I just say it's like Jerry Springer. It's similar to Jerry Springer. I mean, we all love that.
Well, Jerry Springer is dead. He's dead now.
Just died. So
Did you see what happened though? Did you know? I didn't know this, that he had 2 children on the side with a black woman. Did you know this? Listen to this. It's just going viral today. Listen to this. Follow me. Follow me. Potentially. Follow me. You guys need to look up this video after I go. I should have shared it. He bequeathed his entire, what happened was he, like my grandfather, he had 2 families. He had a white family, and then he cheated on his wife and got a girl pregnant with 2 kids somehow. I don't know how they got, maybe he knew or whatever. She had 2 kids, and his white wife said that he could never be a part of their life. Even though he financially took care of the kids, he could never be in their life. Then as he got older, he felt bad that he did that. And in his will, he left everything to the 2 black kids and only gave his house in New Orleans for his other 2 kids to split. And in the video, he says, I gave you your whole lifetime. I told you kids to make your millions. and I'm not going to give you any. I told you to do this, and I'm giving it all to like Don Terrius or whatever the guy's name is, And it's a video that's out right now. I just saw it for the first time today, and you're like, wow, that is honorable. I still think he maybe should have given his other kids maybe a little bit, because I don't necessarily like that too, where you're super rich, you don't give your kids anything. Why not give it? I mean, if your kids are already fucking spoiled, excuse my French, I mean, whatever. They didn't work their whole life. Now you're just going to really screw them over? I mean, you kind of set them up. You enabled him to kind of be a nepotism baby. At least give him enough to escape by. If you got $100 million or whatever.
Right. Well, not everybody does. What's his name?
Very rare.
Dave Davies, who is the brother of Ray Davies from the Kinks. His son, who's a friend of mine, Daniel Davies, lives around the corner here. It turned out his father, Dave Davies from the Kinks, had a secret black family in Newark. And they not only did he have a secret black family in Newark, they signed a deal with the father, Dave Davies from the Kinks, the guy who invented distortion in rock and roll by shoving a pencil into a Fender amp, as you are well aware, obviously an aficionado of Texas music. The family signed a deal to make a reality show with the white father, Dave Davies, cutting out my friend Daniel Davies, the kid who's got a rock band in LA, but who also knew Clark Gable. So
yeah, I'm sure
all the dots go completely in circle.
Clark, my buddy Clark dated Lindsay Lohan for a little bit. I mean,
she was everywhere. She was everywhere here for a number of years, along with Mike Tyson, who was everywhere at the same time. I think Tyson and Lohan were in the same rehab together. And I don't know how that went, but things happened.
Well, Alex, now Tyson, you go. I just want to get a couple super chats in because they're directed to you. So I definitely want to get them. Yeah. Well, hey, that would suck if people are asking us. So,
right.
Boner in sweatpants with a perfect username said, Alex, great job on Jack last night. Gentlemen, always great show. Finally caught it live so I could pay you for hours of entertainment. So great job.
Whoa,
Alex.
thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Way to go, Boner.
$50. Boner.
What a big boner. Well. That's a big boner.
Yeah, that is a big one.
That's a big giant boner.
And then somebody in the chat kept asking a million times, but what is your take on the moon landings?
Okay, now are you guys ready for this? I'm a 1969 through 1972 moon landing expert, and the idea that we went through the Van Allen radiation belts 6 times, really 12 times, because we went on 6 missions to the moon and back in 1969 with technology that they accidentally destroyed and that we cannot recreate today. And even if you compare, and I'm just trying to give you the anecdotal stuff. I don't even want to get into like the shadows and all the weird stuff.
No, don't get into the shadows. Not the shadows.
I know that sounds crazy. Crazy.
Don't
but
go
really
into the shadows. Go ahead.
My point is for all these people, because this triggers a lot of people, because you're like, why would the government lie to us? But it's the same government that lied about weapons of mass destruction, the same government that lied about the Iran-Contra. It's the same government that's lied to you about basically everything. But my point is, so why would they lie about the moon landing? This is just the basic. You compare any car from 1969 to any car in 2023, you're going to say that there's a big technological difference. The size of a hard drive in 1969 to have like 10 megabytes, literally took. That's what I'm saying. It took a room. So they say this, you hear this all the time. It's like, America's so great. We went to the moon with less engineering power than an iPhone. Bullshit. It's just not even possible. Excuse my French. We're in a Cold War. We're fighting in a space race with Russia. And basically, we want to get to the moon so bad. It's just easier to fake it than it is to get there. And I know that's going to trigger people.
Buzz Aldrin is a drunken, lying piece of crap. That's what you're saying.
I love how you bring up him, because everybody here needs to listen to a guy named Gus Grissom. Gus Grissom was the original Buzz Aldrin. He was the original pilot that was supposed to.
He was spamming the can, though. Grissom was spamming the can.
What Gus Grissom did is he went and took a lemon and he hung it on the lunar lander, and he did an impromptu basically press conference saying that this technology was not suitable. And right before he died, his last words, he died in a test. It was a test launch. The rocket wasn't even launching. They just wanted to get him in the seats and see how it worked. It wasn't even supposed to launch. And died in a fire because supposedly the oxygen levels inside was wrong, and then it sparked and somehow it was flammable. And even Gus Grissom's family says that he was murdered. But Gus's last line was said, they couldn't communicate. And Gus says, if we cannot communicate through 2 towers, how are we going to talk to you from the moon? So my point is, if a guy that was literally
talk to Hunley during the show.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to bogart that conversation, but I'm just saying, if Gus Grissom said it, and Gus Grissom was Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong, they looked up to Gus Grissom. They were under
He
Gus
was a
Grissom.
god. Yeah,
He was the #1 Air Force pilot ever. He, missions. Excellent. I mean, the guy, well, whatever. I'm just saying he was a top guy. He was one arguably medaled out. He was one of the best pilots. You don't get chosen to be an astronaut back then if you weren't the top of the top of your class or whatever the hell the ranking.
Well, what happened to Yeager? He was pretty good. He got turned away.
Yeah, I'm just well, I mean, maybe because I think there's something too where.
What about Steve Yeager, his cousin who caught for the Dodgers? He made it. I mean.
No, but this is the last thing I'll say, the moon landing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, it takes a special person too that can lie. I know that sounds crazy because you got to go watch the press conference from when they got back from the moon. These people look like somebody just killed their dog. They didn't look like they did the greatest physical feat of mankind.
Seymour Hersh, the greatest investigative reporter, as you're well aware, unveiled My Lai, the My Lai massacre. Why would we trust him if he unveiled investigative reports involving My Lai?
Why don't I know My Lai? What is the reference?
My Lai, it was a My Lai massacre
in Vietnam.
In Vietnam.
Yeah.
I was just talking about Seymour Hersh because he, unveiled and reported on the the clothing of Nordstrom clothing store in Beverly Hills.
Well,
the Nordstrom too.
It's funny you bring that up because when is
no, it's not so funny. I'm serious. It's sad. It's sad.
Well, I'm saying, when's the last time we had a justifiable war? I mean, tell me that. Maybe World War II?
The invasion of Panama. The invasion of Panama, freeing those students from the medical students that were.
That was Grenada, wasn't it?
The freeing of those Grenadian medical students in that 5th level or 4th level medical school where it was pay to play. You got to operate on anybody who you could catch down there in Grenada in the jungle. I mean, we had to go in there and free them. That was justified, Stein, and you damn well know that as a Vietnam vet.
Yes, I did. I smoked a lot of hashish, did a lot of heroin.
When you rumbled through the jungle, when you were in Vietnam fighting the North Vietnamese or the irregulars that you did you ever think there would come a day when Vietnam vets would be living on the streets?
Yeah, that was the plan. That was the plan. And then, listen, we can joke all day long, but why do we treat our veterans like shit?
I don't know. It's bizarre. It's bizarre.
I don't understand that.
They could flip the script and just give them $100,000 a year. Just like, here's $100,000 for every one of you, $100,000 a year.
Well, do you like the GI Bill? I don't care that they get free college. Give them a free house. I mean, nobody would even care. We give all this money to the Ukraine. We give it's not a money problem. It's a misallocation of funds problem. They want to go to the military defense spending, and that's another thing. Lindsey Graham, he's conservative. All he wants to do is buy another aircraft carrier or spend another $1 trillion on a plane that doesn't fly.
Lindsey Graham will not be found with Lindsay Lohan in bed. I'll tell you that right now, Stein. No. That's never going to happen.
They will be caught with the Lindsey Graham of Coke, though. Lindsey Graham of Coke.
Now, what about this Zelensky? You're saying that he does blow all the time, or no?
That's what they say. I don't know. He's a Hollywood not a Ukrainian actor. He was an actor before he became president. And for me, I think that a lot of these people in power, they actually get them. They have them use drugs and stuff, so they're more vulnerable. So I don't know if he's snorting cocaine, but there are weird videos where he's up late and his face looks kind of disheveled and he's talking in kind of a weird manner. But I've never been in a war zone, so I don't know. But I kind of like the joke that he is a cokehead. But who is a cokehead is a guy named Hunter Biden, and Hunter Biden was head of Burisma,
that's right.
an Ukrainian energy company, and I'm pretty sure they were pretty lenient with him using drugs in the Ukraine. I doubt that they are.
Energy is the big word. Energy, right? Burisma. That means Coke in Ukrainian. Burisma. Think about it.
Yeah, he was an energy expert. Yeah, he's an energy expert. How to cook it, smoke it, snort it, sell it.
I was at the Norton Museum of Art yesterday in Palm Beach, and they had an entire wing of just his art, which I thought was
Are you serious? Are you serious?
An entire wing of just his art.
No. I want to go to his art show. No, you're in LA. Isn't his art show there in LA?
His art show is here in LA. Yeah. No, it's going to be wild. Absolutely wild. Because
when is it? Mark, tell me. I want to go. I got to go.
I signed a do not disclose, but it will be revealed in a couple of days. It will be revealed.
Is it really? It will? Yeah. Oh my gosh. I want to go really bad.
I just want to point this story that broke last night. They have banned the trans nuns from going to Dodger Stadium for Pride Night. I don't know if you're following this, Alex. The trans nuns.
You're trolling.
No, I'm not at all. And it's absolutely true. You'll see it after the
There's
show.
transgender nuns. Is that possible?
Transgender nuns who mock Catholicism, and they wanted to be or were part of Pride Night at Dodger Stadium. And the Dodgers, who are the most woke organization in sports, banned the trans nuns from being involved in Pride Night. Now there's massive backlash against the Dodgers, which is a mostly Latino Catholic fan base out here, which is what really happened. So this is a battle to the death now with Pride Night and the Dodgers. I don't know who to root for, but this is going to be very interesting. The trans nuns dress up mocking nuns. Alex.
No, Mark, I'm very familiar now. Now I understand what you're saying, because when I go to these events, I kind of got well known for last June during Pride Month. They did a Drag Your Kids to Pride event where it said it's not going to lick itself, and that was one of the ones that kind of set off a chain of reactions to other people having underage drag shows. But no, I've been to a few of these, and I've reported and got content at them. I'm telling you, these aren't like boys trying to pass as a women. They're literally like these trans nuns. They're just trying to like mock a woman. Like they look bizarre. They almost look like they're in a Halloween costume more than it's like, trying to be a transition their sex from male to female. So,
well, they ran into the largest Catholic Latino fan base in all of sports, and that's called the Dodger fan base. And
that wouldn't go over.
Right. And the Dodgers, which is the most woke organization in sports, had to choose between 5 trans nuns and 5 million season ticket holders. And they went with the season ticket holders. So this battle's not over. It's just starting. There'll be updates as we go along throughout the month. So go on.
No, well, that's what I'm saying, because it was kind of like the Streisand effect, or maybe the reverse of it. Because we give them attention, now they're just going to continue to try to go to every baseball game. Or because we gave it attention that there's a all-age drag shows, now every bar that wants to get their place written up in the news, like, let's have one, even if they end up canceling it. So
that could be,
it's a weird thing. No, I've seen it, because I've just seen the numbers and the increase. It's not organic. It's because they're reaching, they're trying to get clout, and I don't blame them. If you're a business trying to sell hamburgers or beer or whatever, you want every free marketing gimmick you can, especially if you're gay-owned business. What do you care?
Right.
It's kind of being weaponized. It's weird how it becomes like
the
that.
Jewish drag queens at Cantor's Deli here in Hollywood, that was a bridge.
That's not real. Now you're making stuff up.
Alex, that's a bridge too far. I mean, come on, bro.
All right.
Hold on. There's something just in. There's a report.
Some cash. Do you guys believe that January 6th was a false flag?
I'm going to go to Stein for that one.
Of course. I mean, I think that it's pretty obvious that say what you will about Alex Jones, but he actually exposed us a while ago with the World Trade Organization. It was in Seattle. Is that the government oftentimes uses what is called agent provocateurs. Now, they don't even have to be an FBI agent. Like, you can actually use somebody that was arrested for a crime that is doing, basically paying his pittance by doing CI, criminal informant. Yeah. So you can have these people where they really are patriots. Like Enrique Tarrio, the leader of the Proud Boys, it got revealed that he had been working with the FBI and getting convictions on other.
I'll tell you an old one.
I got a question on that.
An old one was Lee Harvey Oswald.
I've got one for you.
Paid provocateur.
I've got a question. While you're talking about the Proud Boys, and I'm going to run this by you, Alex, because you know a lot of the players. Okay, Vice is a CIA shop. I think Mark would confirm that.
Probably something like that. Yeah.
And the co-founder.
Well, Mockingbird Media. They have the CIA has a representative in every form of meaningful media, though. Eric, I'm telling you, they declassify this. They have a representative, a cop representative. Even if they don't work for the agency, they are a cousin or a kin or somehow in every single media that has any reach. They have a little fang in it somewhere.
Well, let's take it a little further. The co-founder of it, Shane, I forget his last name. Definitely.
I forget Shane. Yeah, I forget his last name. But Gavin McInnes is a friend of mine who co-founded it with him.
Which makes me kind of wonder, the guy who founded the Proud Boys, which is led by an informant.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if Gavin's an informant. Enrique.
No. That's what I'm saying, though. The guy who founded Vice Media, he also created the Proud Boys. The Proud Boys are led by an informant.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean that there are no ties there? Help me out.
No, that's what I do. No, and I'm friends with Gavin. No, I think Gavin would even tell you that, it started off as a bit. There was this kid that was kind of effeminate, and I forget which. Yeah,
What
which
happened
play?
to
Yeah,
Kevin? Did he
they would
kidnap
punch you if you
himself?
didn't. They would punch you if you didn't name 5 cereals, and they wouldn't stop. So it kind of started off as like fraternity kind of thing, and then very easily, Eric, that's what happened with this Gretchen Whitmer thing, where they did this fake, kidnapping, where it was like 4 FBI agents and 3 autistic guys. Where really they can hijack a movement where maybe they start off as a gimmick, and then they get like a real goofball guy like Enrique Tarrio who knows how to make it organized and knows how to make it basically a honeypot operation for people that want to overthrow the government. This is the most open group about it, so it would be an easy way to quote unquote catch your enemies by honeypotting them into this group that's all for patriots. So yeah, the fact that there's government influence, I think that's heavily possible.
Is Whitmer the honeypot that you get at the end of the line? Or
well, I'm saying they make you think that, oh, you're, a patriot, you're, fighting against, whatever, the left, it's all a lie, but they just want you in the group so they could basically manipulate you or use you as a patsy. And I think like this is another thing that makes you just, with Ray Epps, the way the mainstream media has come to defend him, but they won't defend anybody else. They won't defend any other January 6er. Like literally, there's women that are in their 60s, late 60s, getting 3 or 4 years in jail for walking through the Capitol, which you can go take a tour of. And listen, say what you will about January 6th. I'm not saying everybody there was a saint, but they were able to reconvene 3.5 hours later and certify the election. So I just think it's a little insensitive to say it was worse than 9/11. That's all I'm saying.
I mean,
Who said that? It wasn't even God. Everybody.
Worse than 9/11. I didn't hear that.
No, that's
Are you kidding, Mark? Are you being sarcastic?
No, I haven't.
Mark?
Is somebody saying it's worse than 9/11?
Oh, Schiff has said that. Schumer has said that.
They said this is the worst attack on a republic because they think that, at least 9/11, it was just Muslim terrorists. They couldn't have got anything done. This is worse because they could have decertified. The QAnon shaman could have walked in and decertified an election. Yeah, right. Yeah, freaking right. The guy didn't even probably know how to type. I'm just saying it's all bull crap. And January 6th was a way where the government, and don't even get me started on 9/11 because there's a thing called Operation Northwoods, which is declassified about during the Cuban Missile Crisis, about how the CIA had a plan of hijacking planes and flying them into buildings in Miami to create false pretenses to start a war.
Stein,
he came on this channel. He's already getting infected. God, he must have.
What the hell's going on with you? This is crazy.
I know. So. It's a lot of layers to this onion, and I try not to get too caught up into it. Another thing, when I used to love the Dallas Cowboys, I still love the Dallas Cowboys, but I'd be sad when they lose, and they haven't won a Super Bowl in 26 years. So now I almost don't even care anymore. Yeah, they're saying, Eric, you don't like it, but I've become so desensitized because as a young kid, they were so good, so I always think they're going to win. That's kind of how I'm becoming about the world. Like, I don't even want to be a fan. I'll watch it. I'll comment. I still kind of want the Cowboys to win, but I'm not going to be emotionally invested when they lose. Be like, oh, they lost, and break my TV like everybody else.
Okay. On that note of controlled opposition, what do you guys think of RFK's interview with Crystal Ball, essentially? Not the breaking points, but Crystal Ball.
Yeah. She sucked during that interview.
Crystal Ball? I hear Barnes talking about her.
She and Sagar, they were on the Hill, and then they spun off to Breaking Points, which is a huge show now. She laid into RFK Jr.
About what?
About vaccines, and she never let him answer. I don't know if you've seen the segment, but
never.
Jimmy Dore covered it beautifully too.
I'll take a look at it.
You need to watch it. It's not even that long, and even when he's like, well. She's like the rise in autism. I don't want to get your channel structure. We're not going to talk medical stuff, but every time she would bring up something and he was like, oh, well, this is actually like this, she would just say, oh, well, it's not good. She was just giving a very milquetoast answer that you're a vaccine denier. So you can't even give your opinion, basically. She wouldn't even let him say. Yeah, it was weird.
He started by saying, tell me what I got wrong.
Right.
Yeah, that was the first thing he said. Tell me what I got wrong. She couldn't. Well, I don't want to go into it here, and then just started laying to him.
The study that they reference, and we can say this that there is.
Are you trying to destroy my channel, Stein?
No. I'm not. We're not going to talk. Every vaccine is safe and effective. There's
no medical advice or legal advice.
No medical advice.
Stop demonetizing me. I need every Jewish gelt we could get.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying that I'm not saying anything about any medicine or anything, but the rate of autism is at a level that is unreal. It is at a level. I see it at the lake. There's like a place for special needs kids. There's something going on. That's all I'm saying. There's too many autistic kids. That's all I'm saying.
If you read his Anthony Fauci book, like I've said before, I mean, the amount of work that went into that is enormous. It's just as a standalone career, that book would make a man's career. The book that he did on Anthony Fauci. So big support here in terms of him. And
Fauci during the AIDS pandemic the AIDS crisis wasn't very great then. He didn't really handle that.
Well, there's the number of chapters in RFK Jr.'s book about that, which I recommend highly.
I only read it like a 6th grade level, so I couldn't. That's out of my. That's a little out of my wheelhouse.
Well, there's an audio book version read by a 6th grader, which might be good for you.
Well, that might be not bad. Yeah, I could understand that. Yeah, that would.
I think it's 40 hours. But
hold on, we got something coming in here.
Hey, cash, man. I'm keeping the theme going.
Yeah.
You guys should visit the Haight Ashbury. Mark knows all the history, and you could visit the Blotter Museum.
Is there a Blotter Museum? Is that true?
There's an acid museum. Is that real?
There's a Blotter, not even an acid museum. It's just about Blotter Acid Museum. I wish Clark Gable was around.
Hey, it's called niching, Mark.
Clark
it's niching
liked
down.
acid.
Yeah, he loved acid.
Yeah, he liked it all. Clark was poor guy.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord. I have some Rumble rants that came in. Let's see.
Are you on Rumble, by the way, Stein?
We should be. I got a show on. I know, and they're about to kick me off the Blaze, but they're just kind of like, oh, let's build this YouTube channel. But no, I need to start backing up on Rumble, and I like Rumble. We just haven't been using it. That's one thing. The Blaze has been so good. I'm not even complaining about it, but I'm just like, why not put it on Rumble? But they're like, we want to drive them to YouTube, but it's like YouTube is so finicky. So like, I get their point because we're monetized and why we want to use YouTube, but it still just scares me at any moment. I get a strike or I get a week-long suspension, and then where does my show go to? It goes to the Blaze paywall. Yeah, and some people watch it there, but I want to exist. I want to have free content. I don't want to, and then risk losing all the clips, all the time I put in.
I just want to point this out to you. They have put Tampax in every boy's locker room and every boy's bathroom in every high school in California, Stein. I just want you to know
They
Tampax.
Good.
So they are doing very creative, artistic things, the boys in the bathrooms of the high schools in California. That'll be a subject for a later episode.
Doesn't even make sense, though. Can you imagine that? Being like, there's so many...
you can use it for, as a pipe. Let's say for weed, you can do a lot of stuff with that Tampax.
A nosebleed, you get beat up by a cartel member.
Right.
Very true. Okay. Anyway, we got a $100 super chat from a Walfer Books and Brat Fund. Thank you.
Wow, look at that. We're getting brats, Hunley. Stein's going to come over for brats.
$100.
Stein, this is a big operation here, bro.
That's right.
I know.
Finboy Slick, I discovered you guys through Viva. Love what I've seen of the show so far. Thank you.
Hunley, is that your cat or is that his cat?
Yeah, my cat's going freaking crazy. I got a bunch of cats. I have toxoplasmosis. The parasite from the fecal matter has infected my brain, turning me into a cat, theoretically, or, I am a cat. I lick myself. I have a cat right here. I have 5. I have 5 cats.
You do? Is there do you have a girlfriend, Stein, or what do? You rent?
Yeah. No, I do actually own my house, but it's definitely
a girlfriend, or do you rent one? I'm saying.
Oh
no. Actually, sometimes they're easier to rent. What does Charlie Sheen say? I don't pay him for sex. I pay him to leave. Is what he says. So, yeah.
I think he's coming back, Charlie Sheen, with.
I hope so. I loved him. I don't know why.
A new show coming back.
But dude, he's so dumb, and I would say this to his face because I like Charlie Sheen, but he had 2.5 Men, was a gravy train with biscuit wheels. He had Chuck Lorre, the top guy, and I listen. Chuck Lorre and him probably didn't get along, but there is a level of professionalism when you're the top producer. You want your Hollywood star to have. I just don't know why he would mess that show up. And then they tried to do it with Ashton Kutcher, but he left about 200 to probably $500 million on the table just because he wanted to get high and sleep with those porn stars.
Well, ask David Chappelle why he jumped from Comedy Central.
But his is a little different. Yeah, but Mark, his is a little different because, in Hollywood, and I actually, it's called buck breaking too, where they like always the top most masculine guys, or they do it oftentimes with black guys because in their culture, it's kind of like not cool to be gay. It's kind of demonized in that culture. It's called where they put him in a dress, and he talked about that in on Oprah where they wanted him to put on a dress and he said no. But then when you actually go back and watch, he was in this movie, Robin Hood Men in Tights. It was his first movie he was ever in, and he had a small part. And he actually put on a little dress in that, like over his Robin Hood and tights, thing. So he actually theoretically got butt broken on his first movie. I guess maybe they wanted to do it to more of an extent. But
dogs also over there. What do you got going on?
Yes, I got a dog. I got all kinds of animals. My point being is Dave Chappelle saw the writing on the wall where they were making him do stuff he didn't want to do, and he had integrity. So I stand with him. I don't know if Charlie Sheen's was as integrity based. I think it was more just I'm drunk and high and I can't go do it 12-hour work days, 5 days in a row and then go back. Being a lead actor on a TV show is a hard job. We make fun of actors.
How it is.
I host a little talk show. That's not hard, but I'm talking about remembering a line. I don't have to remember shit. I don't even remember the copy for the advertisers. And can you imagine? I got to memorize a whole monologue.
When you were on Cheaters, what was the darkest episode on Cheaters that you remember? When you
two brothers got caught. They were banging each other. So the girl was cheating on a guy with his brother. That was just more. Right. I felt like
the brothers weren't cheating on the women with each other. That would really.
Yeah.
When you were the host of Catch a Predator for those 2 years, what was the worst predator you ever caught?
Well, it's funny, Mark, you say that because now that's a whole genre of people doing the predator poacher where they do the Chris Hansen bit.
Right.
And I hate that content because there's something about it. And I respect the people that do it, but there is something in me that it's like you do have to cyber sex with these pedophiles, right? So
Wait, who does that? Hansen does that, or how does he lure
Hansen does it? Yes, they have a team of people. You would watch the show; they'd be like, "Oh, this is the Orlando Sentinel." They always have some fake charity group that is the one that's enticing them. But my buddy, in order to catch these people, it's like catching a fish. They go on like Grindr, gay dating apps, and they put a picture of like what looks like a young person. So they have to put in a lot of work to catch these people. And I'm not trying to discredit their hard work.
Why is there always a pizza involved? Like there seems to be like a pizza that lures them in, or they're bringing a pizza. They're bringing a pizza. Yeah, they're bringing one with them.
Because every kid likes a pizza party. So maybe that's everybody does it.
Good point.
There's no kid and even adult. I don't know if there's anybody that doesn't. I think pizza is probably one of the most universally loved items in the world. I mean, who does? People might not like pineapple on it. People might not like sausage pepperoni, but shit, a cheese pizza. I mean, who doesn't like a pizza? Even lactose intolerant people farting their ass off because they couldn't even say no to a delicious cheese pizza.
Well, I don't know how they're getting them in the Ukraine at this point because Domino's refuses to deliver to the
That's
Ukraine.
Not true. I bet they have freaking free Domino's there. I bet they're freaking
free Domino's. Free Domino.
Yeah. They have all the Dominoes they want. And if people that are watching, we don't have pants. I have boxers on, so I wear the top.
Look what this guy's
doing. Look at the slippers.
Look at Have you done Howard Stern yet or no? You haven't.
I want to, but I'm friends with Bubba the Love Sponge, who used to be on his network, who let Hulk Hogan sleep with his wife. I've become really good friends with Bubba the Love Sponge. He's really
Was he on Cheaters? He wasn't on Cheaters.
No. But he was on Howard 101. He was like the host that did the after show basically after Howard. So I love Howard.
Is Jackie the Joke Man alive? Do you know if he's alive?
Yeah, he is. He is. Mm-hmm. He is. I believe he had some sort of medical issue a few months ago. But this is another thing. I was just listening to a show, and Howard actually took it off the Sirius app. I forget who he was interviewing, but they talked about how when Ed Sheeran, I can't even say his name right, was hanging out with Howard. He was like, yeah, Ed was telling us how you guys were bowling, how you guys had such a fun time bowling. And Howard on the show is like, this just happened this last week. I was like, bowling alley? I don't know what you're talking about, bowling alley. I acted like he had no idea what it was. Then all the Howard Stern internet sleuths that I follow, they showed up. They pulled his real estate. He does have a bowling alley. They showed the pictures of his house being built. He has a bowling alley. And so you're like, why does this guy lie? His whole fans, we don't care that he's rich. We would love it if you said, oh, this is my bowling alley. I have hundreds of millions of dollars thanks to you guys. But instead, he still tries to LARP as like he's just this middle-class guy. And it just pisses me off. He's so out of touch with his fans. And a guy that I like.
Interesting.
A guy. No, I'm saying respect Andy Kaufman. There's probably nobody that I respected more than Howard Stern at a point.
That's why I mentioned Howard Stern. I thought you were a big fan.
Well, you have a story about Howard Stern, Mark, and
about Stern or Jackie?
About his writer.
Oh, Jackie. Oh, yeah.
What happened? I'm very familiar with Jackie. What happened with Jackie?
I can't really talk about it. I signed a DNR, do not resuscitate. I can't really talk about it. You tell me about cheaters, bro. I'll tell you about Jackie.
No, but Jackie the Joke Man, he regretted not taking that contract. He had the chance to take that contract.
Yeah, that's true.
But that shows you how big of a dickhead Howard is. Because he
tortured Jackie. He tortured Jackie.
Oh yeah, because he fucked him over. Howard could have said, "Pay the man." Howard never stuck up for Fred. He never stuck up. Maybe he did for Robin. I don't know. But I just know that. Listen, Jackie was probably in the wrong a little bit, but Howard definitely could have. He could have kept the team together. And didn't basically. And then they said, "Oh, you can't be on the show anymore." Even when he said, I think months later, he made a mistake. I made a mistake. Then give him a break. He made a mistake. I know he's a pain in the ass with the contract negotiations, but fuck Howard. Excuse my French. You're a bitch ass with the contract negotiations. You're no different than Jackie. You're just a little more valuable.
Who did he replace him? He replaced him with the fat
Artie Lang.
Artie Lang. He's 29 rehabs later. He's still on the show or no?
Without the nose. Have you seen?
He's got no nose. He lost his nose.
Yeah.
He's got a complete Michael Jackson thing going.
And he does. He has the deviated septum or no cranium or whatever.
Jackie loves to drink, but it's better than heroin. I mean, for the love of God.
But see, that's another thing, dude. Howard basically kind of enabled him to be a heroin addict. They would sleep on the show, and they knew he was whacked out on stuff, and they supposedly made him go to rehab, but he never went. It's like Howard enabled a lot of these people to be bad, and Scott the engineer, a guy that's a show for forever, his wife got cancer, and supposedly Howard didn't really give anything. Not that Howard's responsible for every employee's cancer, but a guy you've been with forever, you have $500 million, you know, it's just some people you do need to have their back no matter what, if they've had yours, so... Is
he still with the black chick or she's gone?
Robin's still there.
Robin's still there.
But now he does a show. He does it from his basement of his house next to his actual bowling alley. Like that literally he does his show now in his basement. Well, he used to make fun of podcasters. He said, "Oh, Joe Rogan's an idiot. The podcasting's fake."
Have you gone to one of these Rogan comedy clubs yet? Is that up and running?
I haven't been to a show, but I have a show at Vulcan Gas Company in Austin, May 26th, and Vulcan is next to the mothership. And as a matter of fact, like Rogan, they were doing a lot of their shows with the Vulcan before the mothership opened. So I'm going to go check it out. I've just been to the outside of it, but dude, it's sold out. The lines around the door. He's crushing it. He's really crushing it.
Who are the artists? Just rando friends?
It doesn't even matter. And I mean, he has obviously top level comedians, but I'm just saying now it's just so hot. People just want to go to the club. They're not. Some people like the headliner, obviously, but I'm just saying people will go for anybody right now because it's the hottest club, out there when it comes to comedy.
Are you gonna do Kill Tony down there? Or?
I want to do Kill Tony so bad. I'm down to do the minute. I'm trying to get it set up, but they're trying to like act like they have so much integrity and they don't want to pull me. Yeah, but I'm trying to get somebody to let me be the comedian on there. I'll do anything because Kill Tony is such a hot show and it's a good show. Tony Hinchcliffe, who I like, he's not the best guy, but he has an awesome show. I'm saying, and I'm not even trying to poo-poo on Tony. I'm just saying, like, what he's created is epic. I would love to be a part of it. Objectively, like, whether you like Tony Hinchcliffe or not, he's got a great show.
I agree. All right.
I've learned absolutely nothing today, so I'm happy.
Yeah. Well, you learned about 9/11.
I learned that Building 7 was pulled down, so we know that. I have two questions to you guys. How did you meet? Eric and Stein, how did you meet?
Through you, Mark. You're a matchmaker.
Yes.
It's been
and that's why I couldn't find the link. You didn't tell.
I DM'd you, dude, on Twitter.
Yeah, you didn't. I know. I didn't realize I was looking for that DM. Believe it or not, I get a lot of DMs. I'm not that popular, but I do. I get from a lot of weirdos. So that's why you fit the profile, Erica. You fit the profile of.
Yeah, so I know he met me, so he knows that I'm definitely a weirdo.
Yeah. How did JFK get in the Navy with the leg problem? Well, as a matter of fact, that's a weird story because his father literally forced them to take his son in the Navy. I think they rejected him once or twice.
What? I don't know. Even or something?
No, he has. I don't know about the leg problem, but he's got
Addison's disease.
He's got Addison's disease, and he needs to have that medication with him at all times. But
I heard that was after the injury, though, that everything got worse.
Maybe, so I don't know. I don't know.
So, all right.
That's a weird question.
With Zelensky traveling all over, if his plane gets shot down, would you be more apt to suspect the Russians or the CIA? My money's on the CIA.
Well, I just remember Obama trying to force down that plane that supposedly had Snowden on it, if you remember that. And it was the president of Bolivia's plane. And it was a fake out plane because the guy Morales, Isai Morales or something Morales was the president of Bolivia. And that was a deke. And Obama was fuming that he forced down the plane of the president of a sovereign nation looking for Snowden, and there was nobody on board. And so I don't know about that, but there's a long history now of the CIA involving planes and crashing and other incidents. So I don't think he should be flying Zelensky.
Well, there's a long tradition going back to Carlos the Terrorist. But anyway, super sticker from Heather, whatever. Where's your suit, Mark, from Cool Guy 2014?
Yeah.
Obviously, Cool Guy 2014 has never seen the show. So on Freeform Friday. Thanks for stopping by, though.
By the way, I think we do have an answer for why they have Tampax in LA schools.
Why?
Use it for bullet wounds.
Use it for bullet wounds.
That is true. Yeah, that is true.
All right. True. And I guess Viva's here under another name. How old is this Stein cat? Come on, guys.
Oh, yeah.
I'm 36. I'm 36.
Let me ask something.
I'm
did Viva ask you how old you were when you met him?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. He's an ageist.
Yeah, he's an ageist, bro. He's totally.
Yeah, you can't. I don't ask anybody their age. I don't know
people their age. Who gives a crap?
That's what I'm saying. I seriously don't. And it's funny. And I'm not even self-conscious about my age. I mean, I say that I'm 36. I look young. I'm blessed in that sense. But I'm saying I don't care about anybody's age. That's what unless they're a child, I care about their age. But you know what I mean? I'm just talking about an adult. I don't care about their age.
He was asking it when we met with Alex in Florida.
Right.
He was cornering him. How old are you? Because he was like 99. Was that his birth year? I think that's when he was born. We're like, no, he's older than that.
I'd be 24. That'd be sick. I wish it was my birth year.
I said it was your birth year. Now he did it with what's her name? The comic who's your friend there.
Yes.
Chrissy.
Chrissy Day.
No, dude. I know he was insane.
To a girl,
she said, "I'm uncomfortable answering that."
I wouldn't ask my mom's age. I didn't even officially know it. I mean, what the heck? Are you kidding?
It was ridiculous.
All right, we got some more Rumble rants that came in. Gumbasto has 3 rants in here. One for $50. Thank you. He's a monthly supporter, and another one for $5.
I love this guy.
I do too. He hails from the same part of Brooklyn. I'm a little older than Mark. And he had to switch.
What part of Brooklyn? Sheepshead Bay or what? Coney Island?
I don't know.
Oh, same part of Brooklyn. That's only 2 places I lived.
Okay, so one of the 2.
It's one of the 2.
63 Telecaster with $20. Thank you. Have a great weekend, guys. And we have Locals tips. Did you know that? Are you on Locals yet, Alex Stein?
No, I need to get on there. But I mean, like I said, everything I'm
doing.
Fine,
what are you doing? You're stuck in this Blaze ghetto for the rest of your life. Bust out, bro. Come on. What the hell?
I got to get on Rumble and Locals. Yeah, that's right. I know. And when I get on there, it's going to be too late. I'm toast.
It's too late for you, Stein.
I'm sure you've got connections.
I'm going to go back to being a prostitute. Just that's what I'm going to do.
Male prostitute. I like that. Alex Stein, male prostitute. My new movie.
All right, we have a ton of tips from Professor
Did you see Talladega Nights? Remember Talladega Nights, Alex?
One of the best movies ever. Yeah, one of the best.
Sasha Baron Cohen plays the French race car driver.
Of course, very familiar. Yes.
All right, Professor Tom, I'm going to rattle these off because.
Hold on, let me just get the film pick of the week. The film pick of the weekend is The Fisher King with Robin Williams and Jeff Bridges. So this is my choice where Robin Williams plays Radio Man, who was a real guy. When we used to do films in New York, there was a cat named Radio Man. It was a homeless guy with a shopping cart, had a bunch of radios. And Robin Williams plays him in this movie. And there was a lot of scuttlebutt that Robin Williams didn't take care of him financially. Radio Man, who was a homeless dude, but still a great film with Jeff Bridges and Robin Williams. My pick of the week.
Wait, that he did take care of him, or that he didn't?
He didn't take care of him. And Radio
Man,
he made
a movie about the guy, and he couldn't even give the guy a few bucks.
Yeah, and you see Radio Man in the end credits, like he shows up like it's some,
something's up with Robin Williams. Robin Williams is the best, but he got in a little trouble for stealing jokes. And then the fact that he killed himself doesn't make sense. Maybe he was on antidepressant, but that whole thing doesn't make sense. Even if you're super depressed, you're Robin Williams. Like, I mean, it doesn't. He's worked so hard. He had the work ethic of
he had a disease that was similar to Parkinson's, from what I understand.
I understand,
what does Diane Feinstein have? She has Huey Long disease or something. They said
she does not look great.
Not very long disease.
Harvey Long disease or something. Huey Long disease. I'm not sure. She had also encephalitis of the face. I mean, this is not going well. I'm looking at Weekend at Bernie's 3 with her.
Yeah, she's not. She needs to go and relax. They're pushing her around the Capitol. She's gonna go vote on stuff. Give me a break. That just shows you we got no compassion for these people. And her aides are probably like Get her to work. Get her to work. We got to go do whatever the hell they got to do.
All right, I'm going to rattle off Professor Tom, because they're all him. If it floats, flies, or F's, rent it by the hour. Mark, make a long story short, too late. Lord Buckley, does this mean you're driving to COPPA conference in November? We'll talk about that another show.
Yeah, we'll talk about another show.
Also said Sieg Heil. What do you think?
That's helpful. That's really helpful.
I don't know the context of it.
But, well, what could be the context?
I don't know.
When you were talking about the producers. When you were talking about the producers earlier.
Okay.
What do you think Stanley Kubrick film of current events would look like?
Of these kind of events right now? That's scary. I don't know. Spartacus.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. I mean, Eyes Wide Shut, starring Barack Obama, I guess. I mean, the only difference. Ooh.
Alex Stein 99 just broke the fourth wall. I don't know which point, but you always break the fourth wall in a sense.
I love breaking the fourth wall. Yeah, on my show. That's what
Vega said on YouTube he's got like a training class on how to break the stand.
Yes, I'm going to have him coming on to do that. He sent me links to his videos, but I've got to get with him. It's hard out here for a pimp. So Hutchinson 2024 sent you a tip, Mark. You've heard this one before. Question for Mark. We heard that Fetterman and Biden team approached you for your skill in writing a speech, but I'm sure you'd like to join the best team. That will be
the only speech I ever wrote for was Larry Hagman giving a graduation at Crossroads private school here in LA. I wrote a speech for Larry Hagman, which I thought was pretty funny, but Hagman loved it too. But yeah, I'm not a speechwriter, but that was my one trip to the rodeo there.
All right. And it continues with the whole thing of, if yes, can you unblock me on Twitter? I promise I'll stop saying you're the writer of Skidoo.
I don't know what Skidoo is. And if you've been blocked, it's permanent, bro. You're dead to me.
No, Mark is a permanent block. I like that.
Permanent block. You're dead to me, bro.
Mark likes to block. And then
I do too. We have to, Mark. You have to block him on Twitter. I used to think too. It's funny when I was first starting out in podcasting, I'd people say mean stuff, and I'd say, "Well, I'm so small, I don't want to delete the comment or anything." But now I'm just, and it's not that I'm so big. It's just I don't need this negative bullcrap because I mean, sometimes it's just like the vibes are off. If somebody was having an objective, criticism of me, I'll listen to that. But it's like, oh, fuck you, and I'm like, no.
That's how I feel about it too. Same way. Yeah. If there's something normal, I'll engage. Just some crazy crap.
Yeah. But if it's just F you suck, you're gay, it's like, okay.
I know it's true, but I mean, you don't have to print it. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, they're not lying, but.
Wow. Another Rumble rant from Gumbasto, which may be Ron Pinta. Mark, I can imagine how busy you are, but I think you'll find my email interesting. I'll look for it and make sure I forward it.
Okay.
To you. I get all of Mark's fan mail. It's a treat.
Spam mail is more like it.
Hold on. He gave us a $50 Rumble rant. It automatically is elevated above spam.
There's the bell. Time to subscribe. Tell him what he's won, Bob.
All right, and look at this. Basil Abeshkov is coming in hot, $50.
Whoa, what was the name of the female judge that approved? Oh, right, Epstein.
Who approved Epstein and Alex Acosta.
You mean the one in Florida? The judge in Florida, the state judge in Florida, right?
What? I don't know, but the deal was made by the Justice Department. The judge just signed up on it.
Let me just say, I've said this before. I mean, the deal with Epstein forced him into an agreement as an undercover operative for the FBI for a number of years as part of his reduction in sentence. He then outed people from his position as an undercover operative for the FBI, and the FBI wrote a letter that was part of his sentencing guidelines. After it was over, it was in his file saying that he completed his operation and it was in good standing with the FBI, having completed his sentence. To reopen it 20 years later, I thought was a low blow. Really, really a violation of his civil rights. Not to make him a great guy, just saying he completed his sentence and was an undercover operative for the FBI, outing other pedophiles in South Florida, from what I understand.
Well, I think he was probably helping recruit and get blackmail, but we won't go into that.
Well, we don't get it.
Kick Jack for $10. Alex, please yell at Mark to get him on the Jack Show. He doesn't want to
go. What's the Jack Show?
I can get you on the Jack Show. I can get you on the Jack Show, no problem.
Why do
Yeah,
I? What
you
is
guys
the
should
Jack? Do I want to be on the Jack Show? What is the Jack
Yeah,
Show?
they got a huge audience. They got like 2,500 live viewers.
I don't know
and more than
Jack.
that.
I don't know Jack. What is Jack?
The
It's a
name
Star
is
Wars
just-
girl
yeah,
in them.
Yeah,
Star Wars.
yeah, and
girl.
Cecil. Yeah, it's
Dude,
good.
did
You
you
need
hear
to go
about the-
do it, Mark. You need to go do it. But we got to go soon. I got to leave in in 5
Go
minutes.
ahead, get out of here. Who's keeping you?
Okay,
here,
no. I'll stay for the super chats. How many more do we have?
412 super
okay.
chats. Could you talk about Oliver
I
Stone?
wish, you wish.
Elevator fight. We talked about it. We've already had that conversation. No point bringing that up.
Yep, I think you're cool, dude.
I think
get
you're
it.
Oh no,
Yeah,
who did Oliver Stone fight real quick? I don't remember.
Mark.
Was it
Mark wrote with them.
Was it was a guy, not a girl. I hope he didn't beat up a girl. I hope.
No, we went and got into a shoving match, me and him.
You and Oliver, really?
It was a friend. We're friends. It was creative differences.
He's awesome, though. Oliver Stone. I mean, JFK. They actually work at the Blaze where they shot at the studio in Dallas. I mean, they used other studios, but the main one they used for Dallas was where I work today. I love Oliver Stone's a beast. And then Any Given Sunday is one of my favorite movies of all time.
You know what? That's his biggest grossing film of all time, by the way.
Because it's probably the most commercial. Yeah,
it's because it's football, Jamie Foxx, and blah blah blah. Al Pacino's in there. I mean, it made him the most money.
Dude, that movie was epic as a little kid. Like I didn't even get it as a kid. Now you watch it again and the drugs.
The NFL took away the uniforms and logos like
that made it cooler.
I know.
Was it so originally? They were the NFL was going to let them license.
Oh, absolutely. No. The NFL pulled the plug on him at the last minute and forced him into generic uniforms and names. Yeah.
Yeah, but the genericness made it kind of cooler in a weird way.
I think so,
Because
too.
it's like, it was the artistic version. If you actually try to do like North Dallas 40, where it's the actual Dallas Cowboys, it's maybe a little too sticky or fake. But
I agree.
Because
I agree.
Yeah, I don't know. That movie was great. I mean, could have been better. Could have Willie Beeman at the end. Does he take his job? I guess he purposely left it a little bit of a cliffhanger. But I'm just saying that work was epic. I love that movie so much.
Yep. He's a Niners fan, by the way.
Wow, I'm not surprised. They're awesome. I mean, I love the Cowboys. All right, well, Mark, Eric, you guys are epic. Let's do this again. When are you guys going to get on the Jack Show? I'm going to set that up, Eric.
You set it up. We'll do.
I'll talk to Star Wars girl and we'll figure it out.
I'll get it. Anna's my friend of mine. I'll get it set up for next week. All right, guys. And watch my show, Prime Time with Alex Stein.
Prime Time with
YouTube.
Alex Stein. This is great.
Everybody makes fun of my high voice, but listen, Tucker, my biological father, has a nasally high voice too, and he's the number one guy on cable, or was.
You're not even a Jew. What do you care? You're not even bar mitzvah, Stein.
I didn't get
you don't know anything.
Give me a bar mitzvah. Throw me a bar mitzvah, and then ask me dreidel. I made you out of play. All right. I'm going. Ron DeSantis and Trump. We're going together. Ron, Donald, and Alex. Ron,
Donald. Eat some matzah.
Matzo ball soup is, delicious. Now that is delicious.
I don't know what you're talking. Stop.
Alex, thank you so much.
Bye.
Alex, thanks a lot. It was great. Thank you.
Okay, a couple more came in here. How did Mark and I meet? I talked about this in a show on Monday. Actually, we haven't talked
Steve
about
Gibb.
it.
Remember, we did Steve Gibb. I did Steve Gibb's show. We got to get Steve Gibb on as a guest. He's got a new album out.
Actually, we're going to be closing with a chunk of his new song.
Oh, great! That's great. It's great album. Atomic something or other, right?
Atomic Habit.
Kill the robot.
Kill Robot and Atomic Haze.
Atomic Haze. Name of the song. Yeah.
Mark and I met when after I got my channel nuked on YouTube. Viva was promoting me, and then Mark went to check me out. The first episode I did was interviewing a couple FBI agents and a KGB guy, and he was like, "Hey, not for nothing, Hunley, but you just got your show packed off, and the first show you have on is an FBI agent." I said, "Well, at least the other guy's KGB," and that started our friendship. So it started with Mark pretty much saying, "What the hell's wrong with you, Hunley?"
Right.
It's an early tradition. Establish it. Alex is gone on this, but I would never want to put him through that question here. When is Alex flying you all out to do his live show?
Probably this Alex or the other?
Yeah, Alex Stein. For the Blaze.
Alex Jones.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I would never presume to ask something like that. And then, hi, Comicsgate from Boner Sweatpants. I'm not familiar with
Comicsgate. I'm not familiar with them.
I mean, I'm sure that there was definitely a controversy. Professor Tom, Professor Tom is like hammering a whole bunch of tips.
What's he got going over there?
He's very, very active. But let me say, if the kids aren't adults federally until they turn 18, moms should be able to abort that clump of cells up to that point.
Whoa.
Okay, whatever. If
Whoa.
Alex changed his name to Beer, he could be German Jew.
Beer Stein.
Yeah. Mark, did you know that originally the film The Right Stuff was supposed to have the subtitle How Chuck Yeager Got Screwed? He did not like me bringing up Chuck Yeager. I don't know why that was. It's like,
Yeah, I don't know. That's
like,
weird. Well,
Chuck Yeager's
Steve Yeager, the catcher for the Dodgers, is his cousin. So I'm not making that up. I mean, yeah.
And then I missed one for Alex, but whatever. How often can you hear the bowling next door while Stern does his show? And then Pigeon Begone, Stein Fetterman 24. But on that
it was
note,
almost like Larry Groubert in the Peace and Freedom Party in 1992 or something. They asked me and Leary to run as a ticket.
It could be. And by the way, Gumbasto, thank you so much.
Hey, Dumbasto, great.
If you are Ron Pinta, especially amazingly generous.
Who's Ron Pinta? The same guy?
I think it might be, because he said Ron Pinta and has been incredibly supportive through the show, and I mean a lot of money, Mark. So I mean, wow, thank you very much. I do want to acknowledge it. I hate to say, somebody drops a bunch of money and I just go, "Whoa," in passing. No, we do appreciate it. That amazingly supportive. Oswald, especially. No, we're definitely gonna have Oswald.
Did you give me an Oswald?
I gave you an Oswald. Yes.
So it's already missing. It's already
great.
Somebody stole an Oswald already.
Well, if somebody paid attention last week on Freeform Friday, you could have seen Mark actually holding Oswald. I forced him to cope with his hatred of the dog and actually touch and hold him, and now the dog is gone.
He's gone now, my friend. Wherever that bear went, he's with Oswald. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, they're hanging out together. So, Mark, what is coming up Tuesday, or is that going to be a secret?
No, it's not a secret. We're going to do it on John Sinclair, the former manager of the MC5 and the founder of the White Panther Party, and the poet and friend of John Lennon, who was sentenced to 10 years in jail for 2 joints. And John Lennon toured to get him out of jail. So, and an old friend of mine, John Sinclair, now lives in Amsterdam, and so it'll be a personal story plus the story of John Sinclair.
Is he still hanging out with Wayne Kramer? Or
well, you'll see in the episode if you tune in. If you tune in Tuesday, you'll learn everything.
Okay, well, I'll try to watch.
Try to watch Tuesday.
I'll try to make it. I'll try to make it.
If you show up, I'll tell you the whole story.
Shit. Okay, I guess I have to.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then, everybody, there will be a grill stream tomorrow. Back on track. I hope you consider following us on Locals.
What?
And that's unstructured.locals.com. We are continuing to climb the chart. We're like in the top 25 news shows on Locals now, which is pretty remarkable. So thank you, everyone, for your support. I just released Mark's interview yesterday with Greg Bedell on Locals, so you can go check that out if you want to hear Mark's call in to the weekly radio show.
Also,
I'm putting that out every week.
I gave Hunley a bunch of top secret PDFs, and he put up the didn't you put up the whatchamacallit, the Oswald and
I had obtained those, and I did put up that really, it's like 1,000-page.
Well, how much is the book? The book's like $1,000,
$1,600 depending, or 4,000, or whatever you want.
Yes. People wonder why I have this PayPal book fund, a Venmo book fund. Take a look at the price on the John Armstrong book on the 2 Oswalds, and you'll see why we have to do this. Otherwise, we're using PDFs, or it's. Oh yeah,
and I'll try to put up other PDFs from time to time. I'll have to see if Mark can advise me. Go ahead and put that one up or whatever. So
well, that one you put up is a great one. Everybody if you're a member of Locals, download that PDF because that's a keeper. As was Texas in the Morning, the one by Madeline Brown. We put that up, right?
That one's up there. Billy Saul Estes is up there.
Billy Saul Estes is up.
I'd like to find Jerry Bruno in PDF, but I haven't been able to.
Advanced Man is the name of the book.
I'm looking for it, but I have not obtained it. So anyone out there who has a copy of Advanced Man,
I have a copy of the book, but I'm not giving it up. I'll tell you that.
Well, no, in PDF, and you want to share it with our Locals community, please let me know. And on that note, everybody check out this song it's a portion of the song. There's a link to the full song in the description, at least here on YouTube. I really encourage everybody to go check out the whole song. It's excellent. It's by Mark's friend Steve Gibb, who we hope to have on a Freeform Friday down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And enjoy the song. Have a great weekend. See ya.